to go racing.
The pressure is really on now. And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL. We are back again for the PC Championship. The fun never stops here at this awesome league, certainly this awesome platform and these amazing drivers. We're heading to the legendary track of Spa-Francorchamps, and it is indeed, in real life, the same race weekend as well. They are headed for the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend in Formula 1. We are here tonight for sim racing, the perfect appetizer for a truly fantastic weekend of racing. I'm George Morgan, of course, back again with all the action here. Commentating alongside me is the one, the only. He's the Irishman, Jack Cannan. Jack, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, really excited. It's prequel to F1 weekend. Of course, the summer break is over, but we haven't had a break. It's PSGL Belgium, and of course, we had the social race here just a few weeks ago. It's going to be great because we know how close that was, and the man on form was Lucas Blakely. He carries form into this race, but I mean, it's Mercedes on top at the moment in the championship. Jarno leads the championship, the constructors as well, but it was a masterclass display last week from Freddie Rasmussen, so who knows what it's going to be today. Yeah,
there you can see the current updated standings. Jarno Watmir leading the World Championship, currently sitting on a very good points package of 28 right now, with Danny Moreno, his teammate, just in behind. Mercedes dominating at this moment, leading the championship. 50 points between the two drivers. Aston Martin in P2 having a very consistent season, certainly with the likes of Lucas Blakely and Shanaka Clay certainly doing the business for those boys in green. Red Bull sitting behind them in P3 as well, with Freddie Rasmussen and Tomek Perajec representing them as well. Haas are up there as well. How about the performances from Jake Benham of late? Jack, he's been really impressive this season.
Yeah, particularly last week, top 5 in France. So Jake Benham is really on some great form. P6 in the championship, consistent points. He scored points in both rounds so far, which is a brilliant job from him as well. The big news kind of this week is that McLaren once again have a new lineup. No Barry and no Josh. So this week it's Ruben Vallejo and Dario Yamulo filling in at McLaren. So, but again, McLaren had a great race last week, particularly Ruben on his return, P4, his best ever result.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see as well, folks, as ongoing tradition here at PSGL, the pundits do their predictions. As you can see, if you go to the right of me, or my right, your left, you can see there that I've selected Jarno Watmir for today's race. I'm going with the Flying Dutchman at the Belgian circuit here. It's going to be absolutely tremendous to see how he gets on. Jack, you've gone for Lucas Blakely. I can see you're not alone because Maku has done exactly the same down the bottom. And Big C, Big Boss Man Connor, has gone for the one, the only, the all-star, Jake Benham. But you must see something in Lucas. This does seem more like a Blakely track, doesn't it, to some extent?
Yeah, I think Lucas is carrying great form into this race. He won from pole here in the social race. If Barry was here, I would probably have tipped Barry because we remember the last season was total chaos last time. Wow. Because we remember Barry getting his penalty under the safety car, virtual safety car, and it was none other than Philip Preschnader who won that race. So Philip technically carries the best form into this race. He took the win last season off Barry's mistake. But if Barry was here, I probably would have tipped Barry, but at the same time, so much form from Lucas lately. I mean, he took pole in France, wasn't quite able to convert. He had a late spin in the last lap, fighting with Danny. And he's up there for dancing. That's what we love to see as well.
Yeah, I can see already the chat are going absolutely ballistic at the moment. They're waiting for this to get underway. Folks, we are not far away, I can assure you. The guys are just waiting in the lobby very shortly. It'll all go green and we'll be up and running, certainly for the first stage in qualifying. Naturally, full qualifying here at PSGL, certainly here at the PC Championship, and it's a pleasure to bring it all to you as well. If you haven't done so already, I want to see you slap in some likes and some subscribes as well. Literally, don't stop, folks. Land it now. Get those numbers on the board. It's great to see you guys every week, without fail. Thursdays, I have to say, best day of the week, without a shadow of a doubt. And my evening is absolutely, it's hench right now with you guys. Incredible stuff. I can already see you guys lighting things up. Hit us up with your messages. Who do you think is going to be on pole position for this race? Who do you think is going to win this Grand Prix here tonight? I'm just looking at this. George Morgan, 2F1 esports commentator. Somebody has said, I'll take it all any day of the week. Just give me a call. I'm up for it. We got Lucas Blakely. A lot of props for Lucas Blakely in the live chat as well. Lots of support for Otmir as well. Jano Otmir carries a lot of support in this championship. Incredible stuff. It's going to be extremely interesting to watch what goes on here. Naturally, we want to hear from you folks. You guys are the ones at home. You watch it week in and week out. You are the other pundit. Please land your comments in the live chat to tell us what you think as well. But Jack, any further comments from you? What can we expect heading into qualifying?
Well, there's the Q1 strat, which is expect drifting on the intermediates for the first run, which is always fun to watch. It's one of my favourite parts of the week, is watching guys like Jarno Fabrizio going sideways around the track, having a bit of fun in the first run in Q1. Expect it to be very, very close. And the pole time from last season is 100% going to be beaten by at least 3 to 4 tenths. Last time it was a 39.8, I believe, was the pole time from last season from Barry Burmant. But we're talking times round the mid-39s now with the new game. So expect a new fastest pole time in PSGL. But from who, I don't know.
No, absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see. Certainly, this is going to be the hottest grid you've seen at a track like Spa. You know, the two just don't mix, do they, Jack? They simply don't mix. If you want a consistent winner, I tell you what, this is going to be a tough one to call. You've got so much talent at this top end. All of these guys are capable of winning Grand Prix races. Jake Benham has been absolutely sensational. But how about this man, the winner of the last week's French Grand Prix here at PSGL? The man who fooled us all, went out on his strategy, starting on softs. The only man, well, there was two of them who started in the top 10, himself and Philip Prejeda, but Freddie Rasmussen somehow undercuts the field by a huge, massive amount and secures the victory, taking the car all the way to the end. He's got such an IQ, hasn't he, Freddie Rasmussen? He's got strategy expertise, and that could easily make the difference, certainly at any track on a Formula 1 calendar, Jack.
Absolutely. That nobody predicted that Freddie was going to be able to pull the strategy off, but he fooled us all. And Freddie, of course, is an incredibly talented sim racer. Of course, he's the Formula E Accelerate champion. He's got so much experience on so many different platforms, so you cannot and should not underestimate him when he goes for something. Of course, he had a bad first race, but what a bounce back it was. I am hearing, George, from some of the drivers, we're in for a wet race today, which is making me very excited because we haven't had a wet race this season so far, and rain at Spa. Well, it's, I mean, it's, I suppose, mirroring the real life conditions. We're expecting a full kind of wet weekend at Spa. I mean, a wet race, sign me the hell up.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready for this one, Jack. Certainly. Just bring it to us, folks. Bring it to us. Changeable conditions, ladies and gentlemen. That is surely going to add to a spicy race weekend already now. Freddie Rasmussen making that real extensive turn, heading into the final corner just to give him a little bit more straight line speed, heading into La Source. Makes his way around turn one now, and that Red Bull will certainly be looking to light things up at the top end again. He's got a taste for it now here at PSGL, taking his first win in PSGL history last week at France at the Paul Ricard circuit in southern France, and he's just hopping over the border now to Belgium, and he'll surely be looking to do exactly the same thing again, hopping through Eau Rouge, cruising up through Kemmel, and this is where we usually see the overtakes happen, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the best overtaking opportunity on the calendar, one of the best overtaking opportunities on the calendar, of course. So it's a long uphill run through Kemmel, and then back downhill again. You can see a lot of the elevation changes into Bruxelles. Now you can see really Freddie almost losing the rear going in there, just really getting sideways through here, through No Name, and back on the power again. Careful not to run too far out here. Then down towards Pouon. This is a spectacular corner as he comes through here. 7th gear, slight lift on the way in, but once the confidence builds, I'm sure some people will try to take that flat and and it'll certainly be something to wager. I'm actually surprised that there's not too many actually out on the intermediate tyres. So obviously it takes a long time to go around on a lap on the intermediate tyres. You'd actually be wasting time. But Cedric Tomei, well, he's just finished his lap on the inters. But Jarno is out, and I love watching Jarno going sideways around here.
Oh, he's terrific. And I mean, simply, we're going to be seeing some really, really fanatical finales here, folks. Certainly, this race is going to be great from start to finish. And I cannot wait to see what these drivers are going to bring to the table. Here comes Freddie Rasmussen now through bus stop. Cruising out of that curve now, looking ever so confident, heading up towards the line. And confident he should be. A 140.042. Blasting out some of the big guns from the early get-go. That is a lovely banker lap for Freddie Rasmussen. Let's see who can top that. Obviously, it's still early in qualifying. We've got well over 13 minutes still to go. Or just over 30 minutes still to go. Plenty of lap times to be filtered through, but a very good start from Freddie Rasmussen, Jack.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's a great banker versus Joni Tormola, 41.5 to 0, very steady first lap from Joni Tormola, who has consistently scored points this season. He came from last in Bahrain to take P6, another points finished last week after starting 15th, so Joni's very good at making his way back up through the fields, and we have to see how he gets on. Domenico Lavecche's out on a lap as well. Having a look at the TAS system, of course, telemetry analysis system, which of course now has the added feature, and I love it, is I can check the weather for every part of the sessions and when it's going to rain as well. So we're expecting rain in the race at about half an hour into the race, about half distance in the race. We're expecting light rain, so intermediate conditions, and then back to dry again, so it should be interesting.
That certainly will be interesting, Jack, and that will enforce very much the drivers thinking on their feet in terms of what they're going to do about strategy. In comes Domenico Lavecche now into the bus stop chicane, and much like Freddie and Joni, looking to obviously set his first lap on this session as he now makes his way across the line, and he sets a P2 time, expectedly on the softs quicker than Joni Tormola, a 140.549, about half a second slower than that of Freddie Rasmussen. That just irons out the fact, folks, how good that Danish driver is. Certainly 0.5 of a second quicker than Domenico Lavecche in the early stages of qualifying, and that is good for the confidence, certainly, Jack.
Absolutely is, yeah. So he's already put in a really solid banker lap, which is what you need to do. His teammate, Tomek Paradzic, is out on a lap as well. And Tomek has really not had the luck on his side this season. Was really on for a good result last season. Contact with Nicholas Matteo, which ended in him spinning off the road and out of contention. Bahrain as well, down to penalties in the end, dropping him down the order. But Tomek's been really impressive in the early part of the season on pace. So he's going to be certainly one to watch as well. Donoso's here this weekend, of course. Alessi De Cap was back in at Williams this week, but he's also now had a new teammate. And, well, a man who actually has a pole position, believe it or not, in PSGL. The very first man to do it on F1 2021 was Patrick Sitbol. So they are in at Williams this week. And Patrick, I think, George, is going to be the dark horse for me.
Oh, I think, to be honest with you, Patrick is one of those young pretenders that looks to be a very promising prospect in the world of F1 esports, certainly. I mean, I have to say, when Alpine signed him, obviously we've commentated on him before, Jack. We've seen him in the past. He's always been a good driver, but he seems to have really stepped it up a level, found himself. He's almost risen in the same sort of rate as what young Jake Benham has as well. Of course, Jake Benham recently signed to Veloci, of course. We talk about it week in, week out. He is such a huge prospect, a huge talent for the future. And F1 esports is in such a great place right now, certainly with the likes of these youngsters coming through, and we get to see them at their very, very best. And that is the great thing about league racing, folks. You get to see the pros of tomorrow before anyone else does, and so do we. And that's the benefit of PSGL, certainly league racing in itself. Always a pleasure to bring you this action on a Thursday night. As Tomek Paradzic now comes through the next section, through the winding section of campus, round Stavolo now, which is this next double right-hander. Of course, the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, literally right on the border, shall I say, of Stavolo, on the Stavolo Forest. And now making his way down through towards the next left, into Blanchimont at turn 17. Turn 18 will be next as well, after he comes out of Paul Frere, which he has done, and coming round turn 17 into turn 18 now, down through towards the bus stop chicane, turns 19 and 20. And as he does hightail his way through, can he join his teammate at the top end? Freddie Rasmussen, in comes Paradzic. Can he do the business? P2 he does, just under a 1/10 of a second, but Donoso pips him to the line there. It takes P2 himself. What a visit there from the Alpine, Jack.
Yeah, he went purple in the first 2 sectors. Did Denoso, so really tight with Rasmussen. So nice banker laps from those 2 guys there. And now, just everybody's out on the circuit except for Rasmussen now. So he's got the job done early, and he's kind of hoping now that he can just save, well, that he's only going to be going through on that one single run. If you can get through Q1 on a single run, that gives you an extra set of tyres for Q2/Q3, especially Q3. If you need to do a second run, you've got an extra set of tyres to use. So everybody's going to be hoping that they get through on one run, but of course some drivers will need to use two sets of tyres to get through, so it's all about the strategy. Cedric Tomé is out on a lap now as well, having a look at his sectors. He's actually got purple in the first sector, George.
Wow, Cedric Tomé in the Haas, of course, having a good start to the season. Certainly the pair in the Haas, and Jake Benham being one of them as well. Of course, landing an incredible couple of races of points. He's secured points in both races so far. 2 points secured at Bahrain, and then he secured 6 points in France as well, in truly magnificent fashion. He actually looked like he might have had the best strategy of the bunch, in fact, because he pitted when he did, and of course managed to get an undercut himself on many of the drivers further up the field, but a few mistakes really did hound him slightly, and it allowed the likes of Jarno Opmeer, Danny Moreno, and all of them to catch up with the leaders at that time, and Benham unfortunately was fodder towards the end of that race, and Danny Moreno and Jarno Opmeer hoovered him up, and therefore the big fight happened between Blakely, Opmeer and Moreno towards the end of that French GP, and what an ending it was indeed, as Tomé now comes through the bus stop chicane. Can he land a heavy blow as well after going purple in the first sector? Here comes Cedric Tomé as he comes across the line. P1, he gets it! Half a tenth of a second the difference between him and Freddie Rasmussen, but a great lap by the German Cedric Tomé.
Yeah, brilliant job, and he pulled that all back in the last sector. He was personal best in the middle, and a really tidy last sector from Cedric Tomé to get himself up to the head of Q1. Of course, it's all about being in the top 15 here, but if you can get a good run initially, then it's all going to save you. Patrick Sipos into P5, Yamulo P6, Preschneider P7, Matteo was in there at a 40.33, Leveche and Yoni Tsormala. Sebastian Job now is exiting the final chicane. He's up to the line now to see where he can go. He goes P5. Good job from Sebastian Job. Now, anybody else about to come through the last corner? I think Nicholas Longue is one as he comes through the last corner now. Nicholas Longue as Lucas Blakely 39, the first 39 we've seen from these guys. Lucas Blakely 39.9, Longue 40.012 goes to third. Really good job, but Lucas Blakely about a tenth to the good over Cedric Tomé. Great lap.
Yeah, great news for all the pundits and all you Blakely fans in the live chat. Here comes the Flying Dutchman. Danny Moreno up there. Yoni Tsormala breaks into the 139s himself. Here comes the Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer. Can he do the same? P1 he gets a 139.879. A magnificent lap indeed. Trumps that of Lucas Blakely by under half a tenth of a second. Phenomenal stuff from the Flying Dutchman. Welcome to Belgium, folks.
Yeah, and well, that's the pole time from last season, beaten in Q1. So that is how quickly these cars can lap Spa. With a 39.8 from Barry Burman was the pole time last season. We've beaten it already in Q1. So Jarno by just 2/100ths of a second in front of Blakely. Yoni Tsormala, superb from him. Moreno, the reason I winced, it was 0.001 in front of Cedric Tomé. It was the gap. But then Nicholas Longue, look how close this is. It's just phenomenal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars in the same tenth of a second from Moreno down to Benham. That is how close PSGL is, and it's wonderful to watch. There's a couple of guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, Vigang, Di Capua, Clay and Vallejo, who have not set a time yet, and they are running out of time in Q1, which is not ideal for them, but that is supremely close. Down from 4th down to 9th. An improvement of less than a tenth of a second can maybe gain you 6 places.
Well, you know, Jack, that just makes me... This is why I love league racing, Jack. It just brings out the best in these drivers. The competitive edge does not end at esports, folks. It is literally scattered all around you here in leagues such as PSGL, and we're bringing it to you every Thursday night. What a privilege this is for all of us here tonight, as we're now watching Yoni Tsormala cooling down after that hot lap. A 139.987 is absolutely tremendous from Yoni Tsormala. Jarno Opmeer, though, P1 in great style, pipping Lucas Blakely. Again, could we see another fight between those two, Jack? Surely Blakely is looking for redemption after what happened at France last week.
Yeah, he really is. So I'm interested to see how this is going to end now. We haven't got a lot of time left in this session, and well, unfortunately the yellow flags are blocking our timers. We've no idea how much time's left in the session at the moment, but we have the kind of the bottom 4 or 5 will need to come out again. Leveche's on his way back into pit lane. There we go, 3 and a bit minutes left in the session. So Leveche comes, he's on the bubble in P16, but no time from Weigang, De Capua, Clay, or Vallejo just yet. Vallejo's out on the circuit now, 3 and a bit minutes to go. So we'll have to wait and see, but really it is so close. About 2/10 will get you up from 15 to potentially P6 or P7, so nobody really is safe at the moment.
No, not at all. Ruben Vallejo, of course, has actually really impressed a lot of people in preseason, has really taken to the new edition of the F1 game like a duck to water, I would say. Certainly Ruben Vallejo has punished the likes of Jarno Opmeer in the past and, of course, beat Nicolas Longue, of course, in preseason racing. That was on the World Online Racing League. That, of course, I covered alongside Ginger Andy, of course, who joined me for that one. But here is Ruben Vallejo around the next double right here at Stavolo, and very surely he'll be looking to set his first laps very soon. Just currently on an outlap, just getting the tyres ready, getting the car prepped for yet another visit. I think he might have lost the car this slightly, had a little bit of a twitch in the rear end, and this is something I'm sure we will see a little bit of heading around Belgium. Certainly some of the middle sector where the curves are just so dangerous and the back end can fly underneath you. Certainly this is what happens when you get a new game. Certainly the physics change as well. The drivers have to get used to these new trends, these new mechanics as such now, as we now watch Ruben Vallejo now make his way, taking that wide line just as Freddie Rasmussen did earlier on, bombing past the straight now, through the straight should I say, past the paddock, into turn 1 at La Source. Can he do the business, Jack?
Well, he was certainly impressed last week. I'm sure Vallejo is going to, hopefully he doesn't invalidate his lap. But you can see now, on the overlay, you can see that basically everybody except 5 are out on the circuit at the moment. Tomei's out on the circuit, then Benham and everybody else down is out on the circuit. Moreno, Tormola, Longue, Denosa have retired, so they will not be setting another time. They seem confident that they're going to be able to get through on the time they've set already. You've got to be pretty confident to do that, to save yourself. So it looks like, well, Blakely's not going to come out again. He should be safe, and Jarno will not have the time to come out again, but I think he's going to be safe anyways. But Longue, Denoso could be a little bit on the bubble there, but it would take a massive improvement from some of these guys to get for that to materialize. Vallejo having a look at the sectors now. He's down at the bottom here. He hasn't invalidated this time, thankfully. 29.7 in the first sector, which is about a 10th off the best time at the moment. So not too bad. It's all he needs is a lap to get himself inside the top 15, and well, hopefully for himself that it gets himself in the top 10s. He's a little bit safer. 42.4 in the middle, which is about a 10th and a bit off the best. It won't set the world alight, George, but it should be enough to get him through. Yeah,
I just find it amazing that we're talking about the early 140s on the cusp of the 39s as to whether they're going to be safe or not. Incredible. Certainly the likes of Denoso, who's retired at the same stage as Longue, as we're now watching Ruben Vallejo come through now through bus stop. Oh, Williams just there in the distance, and certainly I think that's Alessio Di Capua, and that could have been very risky, but Ruben Vallejo just on the bubble. 13th place is all he could secure. Danger for Ruben Vallejo. Certainly that's not going to go down well for that young man. Plenty more out on laps, including Patrick Saipos, but Vallejo, do you think he's in danger, Jack?
I certainly wouldn't call him safe, that's for sure. Neither of the McLarens are safe at the moment. Dario Yamulo is out on the circuit. He's about to finish his lap as well, and yeah, Ruben will not be pleased with that. It's a 40.2. It's not slow, but it's just that it's so close. It's going to be so hard to find any time whatsoever. Patrick Sipos comes across the line. He couldn't improve his time. Dario Yamulo does go up to P12, gets in front of Sipos there. So the man on the bubble now is Philip Preschnader in P15. Both Ferraris are currently out at the moment. They need to find something. Simon Weigang is out at the moment. Alessia Di Capua is currently out at the moment. Shanika Clay is also out at the moment. And Simon Weigang will also be out. He's invalidated his lap. So Simon Weigang will be out in Q1. Di Capua is currently safe at the moment on his lap. Shanika Clay on a good one as well. Keeping an eye on everybody here as they come around the last few sectors. But it's danger for Philip Preschnader. He needs a good lap. This is last season's winner. Remember, he led the championship after this round last season. He needs to get himself secure into the next section. And the cap was invalidated, so he's going to be out in Q1 as well. Sebastian Job, what a time from Sebastian Job, up to 4th. So the Alpha Tauris are flying today, 4th and 5th. Cedric Tomei goes to the top by a couple of thousandths, and Cedric's looking really quick today. Philip Bresner is out. He gets knocked out at the death, and Ruben Vallejo gets knocked out as well in the last little bit of qualifying as well. Patrick Sipos will just make it in on a 40.204. Vallejo, Bresnader, Matteo, Weigang and De Capua are out. But how about Cedric Tomei?
Yeah, and how about Cedric Tomei and Shanaka Clay as well, right to the death. So much pressure on Shanaka Clay. Managed to get from the bottom without setting a time. Lands it straight into P3. Sensational from Clay, but even more sensational from Cedric Tomei. What a visit from the German in the Haas car. Certainly has not had the opportunity to certainly strike the top end in F1 esports in the past, but he's come back here with a vengeance and against some of the best on this grid. That is a sensational visit from the Haas, and he's on top spot here in Q1. I know we're only talking about Q1, but that is a huge flex from the man in the Haas, Jack. And if he can carry this form right through qualifying, we could potentially be seeing a real surprise in the race.
Yeah, superb from Cedric. It's great to see him up at the top end as well. Fighting with Jarno and Shanaka Clay as well. Shanaka, great effort as well, just in front of Lucas by just exactly 100th of a second right there. But and surprisingly quick as well from the Alpha Tauris. How about Sebastian Job? Getting in front of Johnny Tormala there. And of course, Sebastian had one of his early league races here at Spa as well, so he's going to know the circuit as well. Have a look at this. Cedric Tomei for the first time tops Q1 in front of Jarno Opmer by 5 1,000ths. Then it's Shanaka Clay, Lucas Blakely, Tomek Paradzic and Sebastian Job. And yes, that is less than a 10th of a second between 6 drivers. Let's scroll down to see what the gap is to make it in. 3/10ths of a second to make it in or out, and the whole grid whose set times 4/10ths of a second. That is PSGL top tier right there.
That is absolutely incredible. Just look at it. Literally nothing separates them right now, Jack. And certainly you folks at home are in for a treat. That is as close as you're going to get in qualifying. And that's exactly what we've come to expect, certainly from some of these drivers here at the top end. Certainly in esports. But Cedric Tomei, incredible visit, Jack. He hasn't really scraped that sort of the surface yet. Has yet to score points in PSGL. Of course, that's not really a make-up on his quality at all, because he's a very good driver. Certainly has performed well in F1 esports in the past. But how about that? I mean, a Q1 visit, taking top spot. And I know we talked about confidence with Freddie Rasmussen earlier on, but that would be massive for Cedric Tomei.
Yeah, now, of course, I think he had to do 2 runs, so it wasn't absolutely ideal for him. But either way, he's done the job, got himself in as well. For Freddie, particularly Jarno and all those guys, they managed to get through into Q2 on a single run. So they're now going to have an extra set of tyres for Q3, which could make the difference as well. But now, of course, Q2, all about being in the top 10, but it's going to be who decides to set times on what tyre, soft, medium or hard. I can't see anybody trying hard, but certainly it'll be interesting to see what the strategies are going to be like. Of course, we can't take the strategies at face value either now in PSGL, because the drivers like to switch it up while they're out on the circuit mid-race.
Yeah, they like to trial stuff as well, Jack. It certainly is a case, certainly if they're preparing for a certain circuit, they like to maybe try a few different setups, maybe try a new, I don't know, different angles, certainly when it comes to camber, or whether it be something to do with wings, you know, whether they want more downforce, maybe reduce it slightly. They really do like to mix things up and try new things. Any possible venture to get an avenue, certainly heading into the F1 esports races. And this is our opportunity to see those changes get made, and also seeing how they respond to it, as well as we're now watching Donoso hightail through the next left at Puon, and very shortly he'll make his way down through towards turn 13, beginning through Campus, which is the chicane he will be taking. He's taking a little bit of the curve there on the inside. Of course, this is only his outlap, so he will be going steady, but very shortly he'll be hammering through this section in his next lap in order to try and nail a quick time. But great to see Donoso out and about, of course. Remember, in that same race where Patrick Sipos took victory, took pole position, shall I say, it was Donoso who took the victory. So it was a cracking day for Alpine at Silverstone. And I would say in many ways there are a couple of similarities between Silverstone and Belgium, Jack, despite the elevation difference.
Yeah, it's a very fast-flowing circuit, lots of high-speed corners, and Donoso tends to go well at those circuits. So Fabs will certainly be one to watch as he takes the wide line out of the chicane. So you see that plenty of times, just get a little bit of extra speed. It gains you close to half a tenth to a tenth of a second just doing that. So they're trying to get every inch of the circuit right through here. And Fabrizio Donoso trying to really get himself a win in the league, of course. He's got a win in the socials, but not in the official league race as he comes up through Eau Rouge and Radion. And cars absolutely planted through there. A couple of drivers I'm seeing on the timing tower are sitting in the garage with medium tires waiting. So really, we could see more and more try the mediums later on, but it's all dependent on who and how many decide to do runs on the softs, because if you're the only driver out on the mediums, everybody else is on the softs, your chances of getting through are slim to none.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to force a lot of them to actually set laps on the soft tyres, I'm afraid. That's literally the way it's going to be. It was interesting last week, though, because, of course, all the drivers decided they were going to opt for the mediums heading into the start of the French Grand Prix. We only actually had, as I said earlier, 2 soft tyres in the top 10, which was absolutely incredible to see. Certainly that, of course, being the eventual winner, Freddie Rasmussen, starting on softs, and then Philip Prejnader starting on softs as well. So we've got very much a different contrasting approach here. A lot of the drivers opting to go straight out onto softs here in Q2. Of course, if you qualify into the top 10, those are the tyres you're going to take into the race, of course, as you guys know from the real world of Formula 1, as we're now watching Donoso make his way around the next left, and certainly very shortly he'll have another left as well after Blanchimont as he makes his way around that section now through turn 18, and now heading down towards the bus stop chicane, of course, where you will need to certainly take great care, but at the same time you need to get the most out of these curbs as well, and he's certainly done exactly that. Donoso now crossing the line. What can he land here today? Not this time. It was an invalidation, Jack, but nevertheless, I have to say, this is not the time for invalidations. You need to try and hook something up early in order to take the pressure off heading into the second half of this session.
Yeah, you don't want to be invalidating your first runs. Daniel Moreno has also done that. He's invalidated his first run, so he's still pushing on, but it's not going to mean anything. So Danny's invalidated. Also, Shanika has also invalidated his first run as well. And I think we saw a lot of this in Q2 in France, of course, as well, that the guys were kind of pushing the limits early on to get a good banker in, and just pushing the limits a little bit too much. So Shanika has also invalidated his first effort there, as has Domenico Lavecce. So Domenico's invalidated on the exit of the chicane at the end of the Kemmel Straight, like Com, of course, and he's now going to have to trundle around with an invalid lap as well. So not ideal for their first runs. But if they've invalidated early in the lap, George, then it gives them time to back off, save ERS, and go again.
Certainly does. Danny Moreno, of course, like you say, he's also invalidated, so he's coming around La Source, but he's going to stay out on this set of softs, so he'll try and aim to put a time out on certainly this lap. Tomek Paracic is also out and about, heading down through towards the next part of the circuit. He'll certainly look to land a time if he can. We'll have to wait and see what this will be. Looking further down, we've got it looks like he's actually on a slow lap now, so a lot of these drivers really struggling to hook things up in this initial stage of qualifying. Now, this is concerning, obviously. Obviously, this is going to pile on a lot of pressure towards the end. A lot of drivers will start adding extra risk into their lap, which can, of course, lead to even more mistakes. So we could be seeing a few surprise faces getting ejected in Q2, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. So plenty of guys backing out on their first runs. The first 2 drivers I see, well, actually now we've got plenty of them. Jake Benham and we have Nicholas Longue, Patrick Sibos, Lucas Blakely are now out on the medium compound tyre. So potentially the guys is maybe trying to see the pace of the soft tyre, then backing out of the lap and seeing what happens, see how many guys are going to come out on the mediums. But now Jake Benham, Nicholas Longue, Sipos and Blakely all out on the mediums, so we will then now get to see what the pace of the mediums is, and the other guys will get to watch and see what that pace is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll have to see what their plan is heading through now. There's Shanaka Clay, of course, making his way through now. You've got certainly a high selection of cars there trying to get past the Aston Martin as they make their way down through. And as you can see, there's a lot going on in the pit lane right now. There's Longay just making his way around as well, and Williams is now about to cross the line itself. We will see who that is. I believe that is Patrick Sipos, who is still yet to nail a time. Still no time already in this later stage of qualifying. Usually you would expect to see at least one by now, but no one hooking it up just yet. Jake Benham, he's currently out on the lap. DRS open, heading up towards Les Combes. Just interesting to see this, Jackson. You would have thought we would have seen at least one lap time by now. Interesting to see that loads of drivers seem to be struggling. Maybe with track limits, maybe opting to go out another lap. But there's Cedric Tomei with an initial run anyway.
Yep, finally we get a time on the board. It's not exactly going to be a quick time, 40.5, but it's a lap nonetheless. Sebastian Job was on the lap. Yanni Tormola, 40.0. So there we get a kind of first representative time. Sebastian Job was on the lap. He invalidated his run. Freddie Rasmussen's out on a timed lap at the moment as well. And he has gone fastest in both sectors so far by about 0.2 of a second. This is going to be a very quick lap for Freddie Rasmussen. He's opting for the soft tire. It worked well for him last week, so why would you change it? Into the bus stop chicane he goes. Gets it stopped very nicely, rotates the car into the first part of the apex now, onto the power. Let's see what Rasmussen can do in Q2 across the line. 39.715. Freddie Rasmussen, what a time, and a banker effort as well to boot.
Well, it might not need to be a banker, Jack. That's surely enough to get through into Q3. But, you know, stranger things have happened. But Freddie Rasmussen, sensational from the French GP winner from last week. Brilliant. The Raging Bull strikes the front alongside Yanni Tormola. The Red Bull family enjoying the top places right now. Sebastian Job is also out and about as well, heading through the next left as he makes his way down towards Pouon in the AlphaTauri. Plenty of cars now out on track. Dario Yamula, of course, who's subbing in for the McLaren. He's out on track too, making his way through the S section. Plenty out and about as well, including Lucas Blakely, of course, winner at this circuit in pre-season, makes his way around the next right. What can the Aston Martin land here today, certainly with only 6.5 minutes left in qualifying in Q2 as they make their way down towards the bus stop chicane before they need to tackle, though, Blanchimont and, of course, turn 18. Coming down now towards turns 19 and 20. The Aston Martin all in green as he comes through now. Just hits a lot of the curbs on the outset, takes a lot of it, grinds his way out. The Aston Martin, what's he going to land? Blakely, is it a best time? No, P4. And that might be a risk. It's certainly here, Jack. He's got to go out again. Those on medium tyres, though. Surely he'll strap on a pair of softs with only, I'd say, around 3 minutes remaining.
Well, it depends, because plenty of other drivers are now sitting in pit lane and will bolt on a set of medium tyres, so it's really going to be dependent on how many more decide to come out. But it's Blakely in front of Benham with the medium tyres at the moment, so a really good time from Lucas on those tyres, remember. So we'll have to wait and see. Donoso's out on a lap now as well on the medium tyres. We'll get an idea of the pace. Oh, he's invalidated the lap on the exit of No Name, so Donoso will have to go again, and that's not ideal when you're on the medium tyres as well. And really, he's going to have to try again, and well, there's nobody else out on a time at the moment that's going to trouble, really. Lucas Blakely and all these guys are on in laps, so Freddie Rasmussen on an in lap as well. He won't need to go out again. That was a superb lap from Freddie Rasmussen. So this is going to be kind of the last kind of rush in qualifying. Plenty of drivers are going to just leave it till one run. They're going to pin their hopes on one single run in Q2 to save another set of tyres. It's all about saving tyres, really. Saving tyre sets. And, well, Fabrizio Donoso is going to have to try again. And let's see if he's going to do it straight away. Surely he's going to go again, and he's going to sit on... He's sitting on the pit entry here as he's taking it very slowly. He's trying to decide, do I go again? No, I'm going to come in. So he backs out of that one. So nobody out on the circuit, really. Apart from Jarno, is now out on the circuit on a set of mediums. Yeah,
and you'll have nice clean air as well. Good opportunity. And let's see what he can do with these medium tyres, of course. Jarno's done it before. Himself and Danny Moreno have top 10'd it, certainly on medium tyres. They're not afraid on this compound. And the Flying Dutchman is just that. He will certainly try and utilise him, giving yourself a great strategy advantage heading into the race weekend. Has not had the best of luck, though, around Belgium in the past. Of course, if you remember, he was a hot favourite in last year's race, but some drama in the pit entry lane that all kicked off meant that he had wing damage, and he had to have a change of front wing. Lost a lot of time in the pit lane, and that, of course, led to Philip Prejnader having the opportunity to take the lead, or take the victory on that day. So the Dutchman will surely be looking to right some wrongs here today, Jack. Spa has not been his best friend in the last couple of seasons.
No, it hasn't. He's going to be looking to, as you said, right some wrongs. And, well, Philip Prejnader is not going to have the fairy tale this season because he's already out in Q1. So Philip's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to replicate that. Nicholas Longue's out on his out lap as well. He was on a lap earlier on, but invalidated his run as well. So Jarno now trying to get some temperature in the tyres here. Going to make sure the mediums temperature takes a little bit longer for the mediums to get up to temperature as well. They're a harder compound, takes a little bit more effort to get heat into the surface. So he's going to now go out on a lap as well. Danny Moreno, his teammate, is also out on a out lap as well on the medium. So you can see a clear split at the moment with the top guys who currently have the tyres fitted. There's everybody basically from 8th place down, excluding Patrick Sipos, is now either sitting in the garage with a set of mediums on, or is out on the circuit with a set of medium tyres on as well. So now, that's exactly what Lucas Blakely wants to see, because he's hoping that all of those guys will improve on a set of mediums.
Yeah, I think he certainly is. We'll have to wait and see what Jarno can do. Trying to get a little toe, perhaps, off the Red Bull of Tomek Paragic. But we'll have to wait and see how that pays off as they head through Lecom now. Right in the curbs there, Jarno Opmeer, the Flying Dutchman, literally chugging everything he can out of that bend. Well, certainly the first few bends he got through, heading through Lecom into the next one. Now at Bruxelles at turn 10. Very shortly, No Name Corner beckons, or the Jackie X Corner, as it's now called. Rounds now turn 11. Now powering through down towards Puon at turn 12. Now you want to take a lot of the curb. Lots of them like to take the felt on the inset. Powers through now, losing the rear end slightly, as he likes to do, to try and get some extra rotation around Puon down towards turn 13, heading into Campus Corner. He's got turns 14 and 15 with Stavolo there, the double right-hander, as he swallows a lot of the curb on the exit, heading around the next right now. Turn 16 next. Oh, just look at that, just a bit squirrely, but okay. Heads now out of turn 16 round Paul Frere, now making his way towards Blanchimont at turn 17. What a circuit Belgium is. We certainly love to visit Spa every year on Formula 1, and naturally here at PSGL that feeling never changes, as Jarno Opmeer now down towards turn 19 here at bus stop. This is where he needs such a grandiose exit in order to optimize his time on his medium tyres. This is huge for Jarno Opmeer. Tyre advantage going into the race. Surely no, not enough to beat Blakely though. P5 is all he can muster at 140.785. Blakely's quicker than that on the medium tyres. Interesting, Jack.
Yeah, it is interesting, but also to make it even more interesting, Lucas has come out on a set of softs, so a lot of these guys don't feel safe on the mediums at the moment. This could be an interesting qualifying. We may only have one driver that makes it in on the mediums, depending on their laps. Paragic and Longue, by the way, invalidated both their initial runs, so they're going again. Longue is just in the first sector, 29.897, just a tiny bit off of Jarno's time, about less than 100th of a second off as he comes through. He's now just exiting on through Stavolo now, up to the right-hander. He's actually there. He's invalidated Longue. He's going to have to recharge the ERS very quickly and go again, because there was only 50 seconds left in qualifying. So these guys who are out on mediums are really in danger. It could be a case that only one or two of them will actually make it in. They need a good time here. And well, Patrick Sipos and Shanika Clay, they're going for soft runs on this one. So this could be a fascinating end to qualifying here.
It certainly can be. Sebastian Job as well is out in a set of softs too, and now rounding his way around the next right around Bruxelles. Now soon to be heading around turn 11 at Jackie X, and soon he'll try and hightail row in the AlphaTauri, the navy liveries, oh so quick. Porsche Carrera Cup legend Sebastian Job making his way around the next left at Puon, and very shortly after that, should I say, turn 13 heading into Campus. Very important that you get this absolutely right. A lot of time can be gained at Campus. Certainly don't want to be losing any tread. Grip is absolutely of the absolute importance in Sector 2, because of course you've got the winding sections. It's so easy to make a mistake, but he's coming out of it and he's looking smart right now. Round Paul Frere, now soon to be heading up towards Blanchimont at turn 17. There you can see the AlphaTauri now, all in navy, and certainly all in prominence as well. Usually donned by the likes of Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda this season as they come down now towards bus stop. What can Sebastian Job do? Can he follow up his usual expertise in Porsche Carrera Cup coming down the stretch now? What can Job do? Is it a good Job? It's a P2 for Job. He gets a 139.918. Jack, surely that is safe.
Yeah, Moreno's in trouble. George is invalidated this time. Danny Moreno could be out in Q2 here if anybody else can improve. A couple of these guys will try to go for P11, of course, so Moreno could also have tried to do this. Loveche tried to aim for 11. He's going to get P10 with that effort there. Donoso coming through the bus stop chicane now onto the power. Where does Donoso go with this lap? Does he knock Moreno? No, he's going to invalidate that time, get P11. Yamulo, where does he go? He goes to 10th. Longue now on a lap as well. Shanika Clay. These guys definitely aiming for that 11th spot here. You can see backing off. Shanika couldn't quite do it. P12. Longue now surely on his medium tyres. Will he try to get in, or since they're worn, will he try and just aim for that 11th spot here? Because it could be a case of, judging off of that, that Moreno is going to be safe, but only just. Here comes Nicholas Longue now. Yamulo's on the cusp here. Where does Longue go? Does he make it in? Yes, he does. Knocks Yamulo out, and Moreno survives an attack there. He makes it into Q3 on the medium tyres. Jarno's in on the mediums, as is Nicholas Longue. That's a great lap from Nicholas Longue as well. He went quicker than Blakely did on the mediums as well, so great job from him as well. But everyone from 5th down to 10th will start on the mediums. Rasmussen, Job, Tomei and Tormala will all start on the softs. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, nice split strategy heading into the race, folks. That's exactly what we want. But look at that Mercedes magic yet again here at Spa. There you can see them. Otmir in 7th, Danny Moreno in 10th, all on medium tyres, looking ever so prominent. And there's the garage as well. There's going to be some very smiling faces there in the Mercedes garage, at least for now. Of course, we've still got Q3 still to come, but Lucas Blakely up there as well. Just look at this. Only 4 drivers on the softs starting in this race, of course. Freddie Rasmussen in P1 takes P1 here in Q2. Sebastian Job after that great time as well, P2 himself. Cedric Tomei P3 getting right up there again, as well as Yoni Tormala. Nicholas Longue on medium tyres in P5. Lucas Blakely P6. What a time, by the way, by Nicholas Longue. Brilliant stuff. Jarno Otmir there as well. Tomek Paragic, as well as Jake Benham and Danny Moreno. How about that for a grid, though, Jack? Certainly up in the top 10. Dario Yamulo is there in P11. You've got Leveche in 12, and then you've got Clay in 13. 14th for Donoso, and 15th for Saipos. That bottom 5 is all eliminated, but certainly heading into what will be Q3, Jack, we got a very, very good prospect ahead. All these drivers, certainly a very interesting strategy split between all of them in that higher echelon, so it's going to make Q3 very interesting.
Certainly is, yeah, and well, we weren't sure if Freddie Rasmussen was going on the right strategy last week. He's gone for the softs again this week, and well, he's took the fastest time there by 0.2 of a second, so Freddie is looking really fast. We haven't seen the true pace from the rest of the field yet, I think. 39.7 for Rasmussen, but I wonder who's going to be able to beat it. And I think this is going to be actually the first time this season as well, George, that both AlphaTauris have made it into Q3. So a great effort from them. Both Red Bulls, both Mercs, and both Hasses as well. Cedric Tomei and Jake Benham both in. And the sole Aston Martin of Lucas Blakely makes it the full 10 cars here. But really, it's going to be a very, very tight qualifying. But judging off the sheer pace, you've got to say Rasmussen's the favourite right now. Yeah, well, certainly. I mean, the thing is, he's got a lot of pressure now, Rasmussen. Certainly all those that have actually qualified on the soft tyres in Q2 have now got a lot of pressure now, Jack, because they need to be up at the top of the timing tower for the start of the race. Now, the big dangers now are Mercedes and, of course, Lucas Blakely and Longue. Those are 4 drivers you do not want to be messing with. Moreno, Otmir, Longue and Blakely. All of them starting on medium tyres. All of them at the top of their game. I mean, the likes of Rasmussen, you know, they've really got a real hard task ahead of them here. It's going to be really tough. The likes of Sebastian Job as well, who of course managed to get AlphaTauri up there as well. But how about young Jake Benham as well? What a visit for that young man in the Haas. In fact, Haas looking extremely strong this weekend, and great to see Cedric Tomei in Q3 as well. Yeah, of course. As well, just an interesting point to note as well is that Rasmussen has used a set of softs in Q1 and Q2. So yeah, you got to remember that everybody who's qualified on mediums will also have an extra set of softs to use in Q3. So Rasmussen should only have this set of softs to use. So he may leave it late to come out, but the rest of the guys will have an extra run with some 2 fresh set of soft tires to use in Q3. So keep an eye out for that. It's all about saving tire sets in Q1 and Q2, and this is where it'll pay off for some of these guys. So we're wondering as well what is going to happen here, but it's an impossible tip for pole at the moment because we haven't really seen the true pace of everybody yet. As Moreno comes out on the circuit now, Otmir's on his way out of the circuit as well. Looks like the first man is going to be putting a time on the board, just like he did last week, Tomek Paragic. And remember last week, George, his banker effort was provisional pole right up until the death. It was indeed, and he's got pace. The young pole, of course, signed to McLaren Shadows team. Of course, he's been part of the academy team now for quite some time, and certainly packs a lot of pace. He's certainly a very experienced driver for his age. He's certainly faced a lot of these talents so many times in the past, so he's very, very familiar with what happens here in league racing, certainly at the top level, as he now makes his way out of Eau Rouge, now heading up through Kemmel, and very shortly through towards Les Combes now. In comes the Red Bull now, giving him wings
Can it land in wings heading through towards the tail end of this lap? He certainly needs a good lap to start. He showed that at Paul Ricard where he led for the initial stage of Q3. Can he do it again? That's the big question. Of course, you've got plenty to watch out for here, folks. The best in the business here at PSGL, all lighting things up here in the final session of qualifying. Absolutely brilliant stuff. We want to hear from you all at home. Light up the live chat. Who do you want to see on pole position? I have to say, it's going to be it's going to be a clanger. It's going to be an absolute cracker as well. Jack, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it is going to be, well, it's certainly not going to be an opening effort that Tomek wants. He's invalidated his first effort, so Tomek's going to have to trundle around again and restart that lap. It was super close in the first sector between himself and Cedric Tomei, just a couple of thousand separating them. Yanni Tormel has invalidated his first effort now as well, so Cedric Tomei is the man who was setting the pace, and as soon as I mentioned him, he's just invalidated. So now everybody's invalidated on their first effort around this circuit, which is not what you want to be doing. You're pushing the limits. You need to get a good first effort in so you can have almost nearly a delta to work with in some cases, but early invalidation is not what you want. So purple first sector now belongs to Jake Benham. It was Tomek Paradzic, but what's 0.02 of a second anyway?
Oh, minimal, Jack, minimal. Just literally looking in the live chat now. A lot of comments for Jarno Opmeer, Danny Moreno, Nicholas Longe. They're flying through, folks. Incredible stuff. Even Jack Canan for pole here as well, Jack. So I hope you've got your...
Yes, boys.
I hope you've got your helmets on, mate, and make your way around the circuit of just outside Stavolo. Be very interested to see you actually run this track. I tip you for P1 as well, mate. But as we're now watching Jake Benham come through the middle sector now, Haas obviously looking for yet another bit of magic here at Belgium. They've done exceptionally well to get to this point as well. I mean, the likes of Cedric Tomei, who is now, I'd say it's almost a different Cedric Tomei we're seeing as well, alongside this very talented youngster, Jake Benham, of course, only 15 years of age, with such a bright future ahead of him, tipped widely by many of the public as the future of the esports game. We'll certainly look forward to seeing what he can do as he heads out a bus stop. What sort of time is he going to land on the mark here, on the money here for the Haas team? In comes Jake Benham, a 140.032 for the All-Star. Not a bad start at all for this young man, Jack.
No, and Freddie Rasmussen's also invalidated his first run, and he was on a purple lap as well, so just keeping an eye on the time. Sebastian Job slots to P2, 40.2, needs a bit better than that. Having a look as well, Danny Moreno is on a lap as well, 29.7 in the first sector, 42.4 in the middle, so he's backed out of his lap. Jarno, how's he getting on? 29.735 in the first sector. That is the fastest first sector of anybody, so it now belongs to Jarno Opmeer, who's on his first flying lap here at Spa, trying to get himself a comfortable advantage. 42.2 in the middle is faster by about 8/100ths of a second. This is going to be a great lap from Jarno Opmeer. He's going to hook this together. Hopefully he can hook up the last sector nicely. A couple of more invalidations. Cedric Tomei's invalidated. Rasmussen, Tormela, Blakely all invalidating their first runs. And keeping an eye on Jarno Opmeer here. He's a really good opening effort so far. Up towards the bus. Longe, 39.789 for Nicholas Longe on his first effort. Great time from the Frenchman. Here comes Opmeer though. He's going a bit quicker. What can he do this time? 39.66 is the opening effort from Jarno Opmeer, and throws a hammer down to the rest of the field.
That is absolutely brilliant. The Flying Dutchman. The Dutchman is flying around Belgium. Gets ahead of Nicholas Longe, who looked to have it sussed with a 139.789, but in came Opmeer with the mighty 139.665 here in the first half of Q3. Absolutely brilliant. Laying down the hammer is the Dutchman as he makes his way up towards Les Combes on his cooldown lap. Sensational stuff. Freddie Rasmussen also looking to join the fun as well as he makes his way up towards Les Combes. Has actually been trapped behind a Mercedes himself, so he will now go on a slow lap. That's unfortunate. In fact, he's tailing Opmeer heading through the first sector, but incredible stuff there from the Flying Dutchman, and great to see as well. We love to see this tangling between two or some of the best in the world, but interesting to see as well. Jake Benham not far away, Jack. If he lands another time, I'm sure he'll be right in the mix.
Yeah, and when Freddie was on his lap, he was absolutely dead on the money with Jarno. So we know Freddie's got the pace to do it. He just needs to avoid the track limits. So it'll be a really good battle for pole here. Yanni Tormela, no time set. Blakely invalidated his lap as well. He came straight back into pit lane. So there's some heavy hitters here that have not set times yet. But it's a familiar, if it stays like this, a very familiar front row. We've seen it so many times. Opmeer and Longe, so closely matched. 10th and a half between them at the moment. And we'll have to see if anybody can beat that initial time of a 39.665. We're already 0.2 of a second quicker than the pole time from last season, which was a very high 39.8 last season, to show you the difference between the games. But now we have a quiet period on pit lane and out on the circuit. There's going to be nobody out on the track for now, as they peel into pit lane to put on another set of tyres and prep for their final runs. So Tome, Rasmussen, Parajic, Tomala, they will probably come out and hopefully fuel themselves up enough for 2 laps. We'll have to wait and see what they decide to do there, but really interesting qualifying here. And Rasmussen and Blakely still yet to set times, could still be an upset.
Yeah, and this is it, Jack. The calm before the proverbial storm. We are here at Belgium, folks, with only 3.5 minutes remaining, and this is it, folks. It's literally going to be a shotgun to the finish again, and we've got half the grid that have yet to set lap times right this minute. Of course, Cedric, Tome, Rasmussen, Parajic, Tormala, and Blakely have all yet to set a lap time. Incoming now for your predictions again, folks. Who do you think's got it? Is Jarno going to take it? That is the question. How many more 39s will we see as already the cars bail out onto the track for the final 3 minutes of Q3? This is it, folks. This is it. So brace yourself. It's going to be hellacious. Jack, is it a case now that the tension is going to be filling a lot of these drivers now? Because bear in mind, those that started or certainly went through Q2 and really did qualify on the soft tyres, this is literally a last chance saloon now, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. So there's going to be some nerves now, of course. For some drivers, it's their first Q3 appearance as well. Sebastian Job, never been into Q3 before, so he's experiencing some new things as well. So great to see Sebastian, both AlphaTauri, he's doing really well. And Yoni Tormal, I think this is also the first time we see Yoni inside the top 10 as well. He was knocked out in Q2 last week, and I think it was knocked out in Q1 in week 1. So the first time both AlphaTauris have been into this session together in their full team lineup, of course, of Job and Tormala. So a really good job from them this week. But the fact that we're talking about how many are going to be in the 39s, only 2 drivers managed to get into the 39s last season, and no guesses, well, no prize for guessing who it was. It was Burman and Otmir, were the only 2 to get into the 39s last season, and now we're talking about how many are going to be in the 39s. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. But slow laps from a lot of these guys. Everybody's out on the circuit now with about 2 minutes left to run. There's going to definitely be some nerves here. Tomek is going to be the first driver to get across the line to start the flow of times here at Spa-Francorchamps. All of these guys are only going to get 1 lap in, so it's a 1-lap shootout for pole at Spa.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. Here we go. The party starts here at PSGL, certainly, as you can now see Tome Parajic coming down towards the bus stop chicane. And here we go. This is ever so key. Can't afford to invalidate. This is the last chance saloon for a lot of these drivers now. Here comes Parajic, already getting underway past the paddock, over the start-finish line, and sets, or starts to begin to set, his fastest lap now. And it'll be his very first one of the session, in fact, coming out of La Source, powering through now very shortly up towards Eau Rouge, and very shortly through towards Kemmel as well, towards the Kemmel Straight. This is going to be very interesting, certainly. Can Tomek unleash the beast that we saw in pre-season when he was bringing the pain to the likes of Jarno Otmir when those 2 tangled out on this very circuit as well? Remember, both of them ended up with damage heading up the stretch at the end of Kemmel, heading into Lake Com. It got so spicy between the pair of them, and certainly it meant for some incredible pre-season action as they now head down through towards Bruxelles. Now in comes Tomek Parajic, and again, just clinging, just feathering that throttle ever so slightly, and coming through Jackie X now. Soon to be Puon, which will be this dipping left-hander. You've got to be careful not to go too wide at Jackie X, of course. That can surely invalidate you, but I think he's okay. Heading through Puon now, down through towards the next chicane, of course, out of turn 13, heading into Campus. That's turns 14 and 15 as well, heading into Stabilo. Now, very shortly, out of this series of bends. Very shortly now, turn 15 beckons. Clips the curve on the outset. Now on the inset, takes a lot of it heading through. Now out into Coffret. I had a feeling it was, Jack. An invalidation for Tomek. That is going to hurt.
Oh, what a shame for Tomek. That little wiggle you saw through that corner has just cost him a chance at a good lap there. Having a look at the sectors right now, they're absolutely flying in right now. And Jake Benham is absolutely flying. Purple first sector, and he's right on the money in the middle sector. So he's actually, no, it is purple for a moment. Lucas Blakely's gone quicker than that now. So Jake Benham is going to set a rapid time here. Here comes the youngster through the bus stop chicane, and Yoni Tormala gets it on the front row now. Here comes Jake Benham. What can he do? It's provisional pole. Jake Benham, 39.472. Can anyone beat that? What a time from young Jake Benham. Lucas Blakely can't beat it, goes to the front row. Can Jarno Watmere displace him here in the Merc? Into the last corner comes Jarno Watmere. Can he displace that youngster at the top of the field? Here comes Watmere. Does he do the job? Yes, he does, by just of a second. Nicholas Longay's on a good lap here as well. He's gone purple in the middle. Here comes Longay in the Alpine onto the power through the last corner. Can Longay displace anybody? He goes to third place. Nicholas Longay, great effort. What about Freddie Rasmussen? Purple first sector, good middle sector. Can Rasmussen displace them at the top? Here comes Rasmussen. No, he can't. It's P5 for Rasmussen, but Upmere does it. But how about Jake Benham? He nearly did it. He's on the front row.
Here in Formula One, certainly write fairy tales. Here at PSGL, we also do the same. Jake Benham lights up the front row of the grid alongside Jarno Watmere, the Flying Dutchman, and the All-Star, the young pretender to the throne. Is he going to take the throne off Jarno Watmere here today? We'll have to wait and see, but those two are starting at the front of the grid. Nicholas Longay, great lap into P3 as well. Lucas Blakely in P4. Freddie Rasmussen, last gasp into P5. To Yoni Tormala in P6. Sebastian Job as well. Cedric Tomei in P8 with Danny Moreno in P9. Tomek Paragic, of course, invalidating. All he can get is P10. But wow, what a finale, folks. Incredible stuff. Amazingly, 8 of the cars, the certainly set times in Q3, all in the 139s. That is absolutely mind-blowing, folks. Absolutely mind-blowing. But how about young Jake Benham? He is matching toe-to-toe. He's up there with the Dutchman. It's the All-Star against the Dutchman, Jack. I got to tell you, you've got to fancy Benham to perform an upset here.
Yeah, he's looking really, really quick. It was 100th of a second, and believe it or not, folks, at home, that is the largest margin we've had between pole and second place this season. 11 thousandths is the largest margin we've had between two drivers, and Benham, oh, how close was he to get there? The top 5 were separated by under 1/10 of a second. Rasmussen P5, Blakely managing 4th. Wow, this is going to be some Grand Prix here. And remember, of course, they're starting on alternate tyres as well. Benham's on the mediums, Otmere's on the mediums. Plenty of these guys on the mediums, but remember, Rasmussen is on the soft tyre starting in P5. So remember, he's going to be rapid off the line as he was last week. He needs to get a good start here, get out in front as if he possibly can. But of course, we've got a long formation lap here, so we have a chance to sort of calm down after that. And you can't say at home, if you were supporting Otmere, that you weren't trying just a little bit, hoping that Jake Benham would get one over on him. But I'm sure he'll be over the moon with P2 in a grid this strong.
Jack, I'm blown away. I mean, first of all, the audacity, the absolute audacity for someone of Jake Benham's, infancy, I suppose, in the sport as such. I mean, I know he's been on the scene for quite some time, but at age 15, of course, not tasted or really done much in terms of the highest echelons against some of the best in esports at all. Not certainly in a grid of this level, but he has brought everything to the table, and he looks like a massive prospect for the future. And I hope he can continue this amazing rise in development that he has certainly taken. And I gotta say, I really think he could be the thorn in the side here, because he's starting on medium tyres alongside Otmere. The top 4 are all starting on medium tyres. Certainly my prediction of what could happen at the end of Q2 into Q3 has certainly come off. I mean, Rasmussen, Tormala, Job, and Tomei, they've got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, they really do. They're the only 4 drivers on the softs, so they've got to kind of work together here a little bit to try and get their way through the field. But I'm just saying that Connor's prediction's not looking too bad, is it? P2 for Jake Benham, and he's predicted Jake for the win, and it could certainly happen. So Connor, every single week, Connor knows something we don't, and his predictions have very nearly come true. But we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Jarno, of course, he is the F1 Esports World Champion, and he's a man very hard to beat on his day. Longay and Blakely as well. He cannot count them out. But really, we're going to be watching all those cars behind Rasmussen, Tormala, Job, and Tomei. They're going to be basically trying to work together to get themselves past the top 4 here, because they've absolutely got to get out in front of off the line.
Yeah, no, folks, I want to hear from you. It's time to rate this live chat. I want to see your predictions for a race win. I'll tell you what, I hope I'm going to see some variation because anyone could win this race. Certainly, Jack, just a few words before we start from yourself. First of all, any tips? And also, is it going to be a dive bomb heading into La Source at the first lap?
Well, you can expect it from at least from somebody. I don't think we could see, who knows, we could see something similar to what happened last season. Collisions in the pit lane. We had virtual safety cars last season. Of course, safety car, I believe, not enabled here. So, really, it's anybody's game. But I think we're in for an upset this week.
Yeah, we certainly could be. Lots of comments here for Giano. We've got Jake Benham as well. We've got some for Donoso. We have got all sorts. Longue as well. Danny Moreno. He's got some tips too. Plenty of them also tipping the Flying Dutchman. But here we go, folks. The PSGL Belgian Grand Prix. Keep it with us. It's going to be sensational. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light. And his pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Jano Wapmere gets away well. Jake Benham equaling him toe-to-toe around La Source. Look at him now cruising through. Look at Freddie Rasmussen as well. Trying to take the outside line on Lucas Blakely. Riding wheel to wheel now. Inside line Rasmussen as they come out through Eau Rouge. In comes Blakely. Brilliant. Holds on to P4. But very long though. Rasmussen all over his rear end. In comes Nicolas Longue. Looking for a move on the outside of Jake Benham. Tries to race through wheel to wheel. But Benham has his number. Will Longue go for a dive bomb? Benham opens the door. In comes Rasmussen. Sensational as Blakely tries to defend. Absolutely brilliant from Lucas Blakely on the medium tyres. Jack, Rasmussen has been frustrated at the start.
Yeah, he tried his best to get through there, but well defended by everybody in front. They just couldn't get it through each other with the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight for the first time. We had a spinner in Shanika Clay in at the end of the Kemmel Straight, but great defensive work by Lucas Blakely that time. Now he's on the attack on the front of Nicolas Longue here. Benham tried his best to get around the outside. He stayed side by side with Wapmere all the way up towards Eau Rouge, backed off in the end. Rasmussen is desperate to get past Lucas Blakely here. Through the chicane he comes, gets sideways on the way through. Blakely sideways on the way out as well, as he tries desperately to make up places. Tormola is keeping in there as well. Job and Tome need to keep in there as well. He's got problems with Moreno behind as well, but Rasmussen needs to get himself through. Huge slide from Rasmussen on the way through. Paul Frere hangs on to it, but that leaves him vulnerable for a moment to Joni Tormola. But just about scary moment there for Freddie Rasmussen, who hangs onto the car just about. Down to the bus stop chicane they go, but Wapmere leads at the end of the first lap. Longue is going to spin in the chicane. Round goes Longue and collects Rasmussen, who dives into pit lane, and unfortunately Cedric Tome, huge crash in the pit entry. There's multiple cars involved, and Tome gets done there. Moreno gets through as well. There's been absolute chaos at the pit entry here at Spa. Just like last year, the safety car is out.
Yes, this almost is a carbon copy of last season's race at Spa, folks, where the safety car made an early appearance. Of course, this lending to the win to Philip Prejnader. Of course, now Philip is still at the back at this moment in time, so no magic here currently from the Alfa Romeo. But what this means is now still Wapmere is on top. Joni Tormola is still up there too. For some reason showing in P3. I think the timing tower is just trying to sort itself out, folks. But boxing now, Paradzik, Yamulo, as well as I can see Moreno and Tome. They're all boxing right now. There you can see Wapmere still leading the pack though. Jake Benham in P2 currently as well. Plenty out on track. The top five are relatively untouched, apart from what happened, of course, to Longue and, of course, to Rasmussen. So, interestingly enough now, it's allowed the likes of Blakely to rise up as well. Jack, this is absolutely incredible. This safety car alone can really cause a massive, make a massive change to this race.
Yeah, wow, that is just like last season. Instance in the pit lane caused the safety car, and that was a big incident. I think, just judging off the incident there, I think Blakely just gave Longue a tiny nudge in the rear, sent him around. Rasmussen unfortunately got caught up with his wing, tried to go into the pit lane, went in way too hot, piled it into the wall on the pit entry, and that caused a huge stack up on the way in. Cars trying to ghost through each other, but a couple of guys ended up pitting there in the end. Moreno ended up pitting, Tome ended up pitting, as did Yamulo. So just having a look at the guys who pitted. So yeah, Paracic, Yamulo, Moreno and Tome, the guys who stopped under the initial chaos. But I think Shanika Clay will be glad that the safety cars come out. That's kind of rescued his race after the first lap spin.
Yeah, it certainly has. We'll have to wait and see how this sort of pans out for a lot of these guys. Again, we're seeing more drivers box. Joni Tormola being one of them. Wapmere has opted to go into the pits early as well, taking those mediums off. Yeah, is he? What's with the change there, Jack?
Oh, I don't know. He's got jumped. Did he? No, he didn't. Oh, that was very close between himself and Joni Tormala. He's got bolted on instead of the soft compound tyre, has Jarno Opmeer. So, interesting call. But, of course, they're going to be a couple of laps behind the safety car, so they will get a chance to look after them. Joni Tormala, well, I know exactly what he's thinking here. He's bolted on the set of hard tyres. He's going to go right to the very end of the Grand Prix, Joni Tormala. And they've just about managed to come out in front. Oh, very close on the pit exit. Who's got in front there? Paradzic and Weigand racing each other down towards Eau Rouge. Don't race each other, the safety car, boys. And Paradzic manages to get in front. Of course, Weigand was able to go full throttle on the pit exit there. Paradzic left enough of a delta that he could accelerate and try to get in front of Weigand there. That was a very crucial move that he did that, because Weigand just pitted under the safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly racing themselves up under safety car rules heading up through Eau Rouge. A very dangerous game, certainly at this stage. I mean, no matter what you're doing going up through Eau Rouge, it's a very dangerous game. But there's Opmeer now in the cameras, being followed by Joni Tormala. And Tomek Paradzic in behind too. There's Weigand, who of course let Paradzic through out of Eau Rouge. In behind as well, you've got Nicolas Matteo and of course Dario Yamulo, Danny Moreno back in P18, who made an initial change too, along with Cedric Tomei. So plenty of cars already boxing. Making 7 cars pitting onto new tyres. Further up though, look who's leading. It's the all-star Jake Benham there on the medium tyres. What a getaway from that young man, of course, now leads this race. Great opportunity now for him to have some clean air as soon as the safety car goes back into the pit lane. But of course, he's got a very relentless man behind him. Of course, the PSGL pre-season Belgian Grand Prix winner, Lucas Blakely.
Yeah, and remember, of course, there's rain coming. Sebastian Job spun under the safety car. That's not gone well for Sebastian Job. He's dropped down right to the tail of the field, and not probably. I wonder if it was the contact with the safety car there. Interesting from there, but of course there's rain coming. Light rain expected at the 30-minute mark of this race, so about the halfway point of the race. So, of course, Opmeer pitting onto soft tyres. He knows there's rain coming, so he doesn't want to bolt on it. He wants to have the quickest tyre that he can go flat out for the next couple of laps and hope that the rain comes soon. But now Jake Benham leads the Grand Prix. He's got to control the safety car restart. The first safety car restart we've had this season. Blakely is trying his best to keep with him here, and Benham's gone already now to come towards the safety car line now through the bus stop chicane. Green flag drops at Spa at the end of lap 3. Benham leads them away. Blakely goes through. 5-second penalty for DeCapua, who gets into the back of Shanika Clay. Now Blakely now needs an opportunity to get past Benham here. Through they go. It's Benham, Blakely, Leveche, Sipos, Vallejo, Longue, Donoso, pressure to DeCapua, and Opmeer making places up immediately, gets past Shanika Clay. But I think now danger man Lucas Blakely, he wants to get on with it here, up through Eau Rouge and Radion for this the 4th time today. Blakely's got the run. Here comes Lucas Blakely on the inside down the Kemmel Straight. No DRS, pure slipstream in effect here, and Lucas Blakely leads in Belgium at Spa. He got that move straight away. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he leads at Spa.
Yeah, pedal to the metal for the 2nd time in this Grand Prix, and Blakely snuffs out Benham from the get-go. Leveche in behind as well. Plenty though going on. The delta times have not changed very much. Simon Weigand as well, right in behind there on Tomek Paradzic. Paradzic also only 2/10 behind, but a little nudge in the back of the pole there from Simon Weigand. Got also close there towards the rear as they now come around. Jackie Expen this time. You can see that the Alfa Romeo right in the rear wing there of Tomek Paradzic coming through. Pouon now, this downhill left-hander that can be oh so dangerous if you clip the curves, but Weigand forced to stay in behind as well, but seems to carry a lot of the pace. Paradzic could well be in trouble here, Jack.
Oh, Jarno with a lovely move. He's gone up around the outside of Elisa DeCapua through the middle of the chicane there with the extra grip on the softs. Beautiful overtake from Jarno Opmeer there. Up to P9 he goes, and he needs to stick in the DRS now. He needs to try and get up to the back of Philip Preschnader here, but in the lap 5, it's really, really intriguing stuff up the front end. Lucas Blakely leads at the end of the first racing lap behind as Matteo and Paradzic this is getting really close into the bus stop chicane here. Matteo and Paradzic side by side here. Matteo gets through. He's on fresh softs, as is Yamulo. Paradzic is getting eaten up here.
He certainly is. He's not enjoying himself. Donoso is another man who's getting up the rear of his teammate Nicolas Longue, who can see the Chilean right in behind him here. Great chance now coming up through Eau Rouge, but obviously looking further up as well. We got a tie up for the potential lead of this Grand Prix there. Oh, a little bit of a trick in the steering wheel there from Donoso as they make their their way up. Jake Benham trying to look ahead at Lucas Blakely. Will he opt for a move? Not this time. No time for a move, he says. They now come up towards lane com. Longe still holding on to that P6 at least for now. In comes the Dutchman though. Jarno Opmeer down the outside of Philip Prejnader, taking no prisoners, and Philip Prejnader, the Slovakian, drops down to P9. Jarno making places. He's busting a move. The Flying Dutchman is on a charge, Jack.
Yeah, big moves being made by the soft runners. Of course, Joni Tormel is on the hard tyres and he's getting eaten alive by the soft runners. That's 2 places in 2 corners. Vatagang and Matteo make it through past him for that position there. But Jarno is flying on the fresh softs as well. When the rain comes, he will have the best tyres on those fresh soft tyres. But the question is, when does the rain come? That's going to be the key point here of when does the rain arrive and how heavy. We're expecting light rain, just intermediate conditions. So we'll have to wait and see how that ends, but there's still plenty of time. It's clouding over, you can see in Spa, but still a little bit of time left before the rain arrives. And we haven't had a wet race at all in PSGL this season. It'll be the first one, so we'll have to wait and see how it ends as Longe gets past Vallejo, I think, round the outside through Blanchimont. Longe, lovely overtake, he's got through, and now he can chase after, well, it would be normally his teammate, but in a different car, Patrick Sipos.
Yeah, absolutely. Sipos obviously taking control of the Williams here today. He's having a great race, in fact. DRS has now opened up. Opmeer is absolutely flying. He's just set a fastest lap of 143.223 on those fresher soft tyres now as they make their way up towards Eau Rouge. There you can see Sipos there looking ahead at the sight of that Ferrari of Domenico Lavecce. In ahead there, you can also see Jake Benham, who can utilise as well the DRS to try and overtake Blakely if he so wishes. They now make their way up towards lane com now. The mighty elevation climb. Can Benham make a move here on Blakely? Onto the inside, not this time. Looking further down to Noso. Also looking all over the rear of Ruben Vallejo as they climb through Eau Rouge. Not through Eau Rouge, through lane com. Heading round the next right-hander now towards Bruxelles. No movements at the top 10, Jack, but still the racing so close. Minimal gaps, right up to 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, very, very close there. Here's the rain. The rain's arrived. It's now trickling with rain at Spa. So it's come nice and early here. And it's going to be a case of how wet does the track get and how quickly. So the rain arrives in Spa on lap 6. And now that'll be music to the ear, to the eyes of some of these guys who have yet. Maybe I wonder how much rain practice some of these guys have done. But Jarno needs to make positions up on these soft tyres now nice and quickly. Then you can utilise the track position and these fresh soft. That's worked out quite nicely for Opmeer with these fresh soft tyres. You can make positions up nice and quickly before the track gets too wet here. Trying to get up past Fabrizio Donoso now, as at the same time Donoso's trying to get past Vallejo. Through Blanchimont they come. Nice run for Donoso through here. Gets a little wiggle now to the outside line. Where does Opmeer go? He might be able to get the both of them here. No, he backs off. Vallejo goes deep into the bus stop chicane, and Donoso's not able to get through here. So now it's going to have to be a case of the DRS for Opmeer. He needs to make the positions up nice and quick here. Donoso now trying to get past Vallejo down towards Las Source. Looks to the inside. The Chilean goes up the inside of the McLaren. Can he get the job done? The answer is yes. Vallejo tries to get back at him, and now Opmeer with oodles of traction straight through Blas Ruben Vallejo and up to P7.
Yeah, absolutely is. The Dutchman flying now, and he might get another chance this time on Fabrizio Donoso, the Chilean now, as they make their way up towards Kemmel. Here comes Jarno Opmeer now, as they make their way up the hill, the high elevation charge of this Belgian Grand Prix circuit of Spa. Opmeer opted for the inside line, heading into the lane com bends, but not enough to topple Donoso, who holds on, but still he's chewing, biting on the rear of that Alpine now. Donoso tries to defend to the inside line, switch back from Jarno, down to the next right to Bruxelles. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant from the Dutchman, up into P6. Wow, wow, on the soft tyres, sensational move, Jack Kinnan.
Whoa, I tell you what, Donoso made that as hard as he could for Jarno there, but Jarno using the grip of the soft tyres and brilliant racecraft gets himself past Fabrizio Donoso. Now he's got to negotiate his teammate Nicolas Longe. Donoso's teammate, that is next up on his list. Donoso is trying to make that as hard as possible to keep him behind the Alpines here. Onto the power they go again, and coming up towards the end of lap number 7, you can definitely see the rain coming down now, but how is the grip out there? It's not getting too wet yet. Of course, we normally see the crossover point when the DRS gets disabled. That is the call really, to switch to the the intermediate tyres. So we'll still probably be waiting a little while here before we see the track get super wet. Weigang gets past his teammate there into Blodgman. Weigand's on a good charge here through the field into P11 in front of his teammate Philip Brechner. Now Jarno, so much traction on the softs now, but now he's got to get past Nicolas Longue, and if Donoso was hard to pass, Longue is going to be even harder, I reckon.
Yeah, an Alpine sandwich is certainly not the way forward, but nevertheless, Otmir's got to deal with it. He got a lovely exit out of La Source now, heading up towards Eau Rouge. The Dutchman knows all about this one as they now rise their way up the circuit. There you can see Longue, the Frenchman, at the mercy of the Flying Dutchman on the soft tyres. It's not wet enough for it to be too slippery yet. The slick tyres are still working as Otmir now charges down the inside in the Black Arrow, and it strikes up into P5. A top 5 visit. Jarno knows he needs to get moving, and he's doing just that. A grandiose overtake dispatches 2 Alpine drivers in the space of 2 single laps. He is certainly flying. That's why he's the Flying Dutchman, folks. Jarno Otmir now up into P5.
Yeah, Longue didn't have the benefit of DRS, but tell you what, Benham leads the Grand Prix again. He got past Lucas Blakely once again, so Benham back to the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Blakely runs in second, and a man we haven't really given any props to, Domenico Levecce, running up in third in the Ferrari, and Patrick Sipos running fourth, but now Otmir is bearing down on them on the soft compound tyre, on these treacherous conditions here in Belgium. It looks to be getting a very, very, very slick out there right now. You can see them just being a little bit more cautious in some of the corners now as they head up towards Blanchimont now. Lap 8 of 22. It's a long Grand Prix here at Belgium. No sign of any track cut penalties just yet, just mainly speeding under the safety car penalties at the moment for now. But Benham under pressure now from Lucas Blakely. He decided to get the move done with the DRS, goes a bit deep into the bus stop chicane now, onto the power goes Blakely now with the DRS. You can see the other cars behind as well. Patrick Sipos hanging on to the rear of these guys. Otmir with them as well as they come down into La Source once again, and I think now Blakely might try and get back through again. They're not really fighting through the corners, but Benham, I tell you what, he's driving a superb race out in the lead.
Yeah, he certainly is. Patrick Sipos is also having a great drive, but look who's behind him. It's Otmir again, but he's got Domenico Levecce ahead of him. Does young Sipos now, the Alpine Esports driver, newly signed. Blakely going for the lead though, dispatches the all-star Jake Benham, but in comes Patrick Sipos down the inside into Lecom. Does not choose to make the move, cannot make the move, but Blakely though out in front dispatches Jake Benham into Lecom. Great move indeed, and it's actually really sensational to see them. Jack, what's new?
Jarno up the inside as Sipos through Brussels gets side by side with the young Hungarian, and he gets the job done again. Lovely overtake from Jarno Otmir, showing what he's made of here. Gets past Sipos up to P4, superb. And behind as well, team orders at Alpine. Donoso's been let through by Longue, so Donoso's been now released to try and get up to the back of them there. But this is superb overtaking from Jarno now. Those softs working very nicely. Cedric Tome with a penalty now. And next up on Jarno's hit list is Domenico Levecce, and Blakely now, after he's made that move, I think he's getting a move on George. He's using all the ERS trying to break away from it because he knows Jarno's on the charge.
Yeah, tactical ploy here from Lucas Blakely, and I'm sure Benham knows it as well. Benham's got to get to work and try and close that gap right back up. He's still within the chance of winning this race, is young Jake Benham, but still Lucas Blakely is the man that's on top. Otmir though on a very, very solid charge here, currently in P4 and chasing Domenico Levecce. Might get him now once again. Still only got 5 laps on those soft tyres currently on Otmir, so he's got plenty of wear still left on them, I think. Coming into La Source now, still it's Domenico Levecce in P3, but I'm sure Jarno will fancy his chances heading up through Eau Rouge. He got lovely traction out of La Source now, making their way up towards the high incline section of Eau Rouge, the swinging section indeed, as Jarno Otmir, who's done it twice before already. Here comes the Dutchman now, right on the rear of the Scuderia Ferrari. Here comes Jarno Otmir yet again, outside line, heading into Lecom. The traction is brilliant, and the Mercedes has secured it surely, making his way through that series of bends, though, heading through the next right-hander very shortly, turn 10 at Brussels. Amazing stuff. The Dutchman, any strategy he picks, he's always on top, Jack.
Absolutely superb call for Mercedes and Jarno there, but Even more interesting, Job's gone on the Inters, George. He's down in 19th. He may as well try something, and he's gone onto the Inters super early. I think it's far too early at the moment for the Ford to switch onto them, but we'll get an idea now as Blakely drifts his way through Puon, through the left-hander, and Jarno now is up behind the young upshot here of Jake Benham on the softs now. A superb strategy call from Mercedes and from Jarno to get onto those softs to make up the positions now. These tyres far better in the wet conditions with the extra grip they offer, and now he's going to be trying to get past Jake as quickly as he can. Sebastian now gets a penalty down the order now. He's losing nearly 2 seconds a lap, so it's still not time to switch onto those intermediates just yet. Still the rain coming down here at Spa, and Otmir now is closing on Jake Benham, who put it up to him in qualifying. Started on the front row right next to him, and now Otmir's got him on his hit list. Down towards turn 1 they come. Benham gets on the battery now. Otmir not using his ERS. He's being patient, saving it, using it when he needs to. Through last source they come again. Gets on the power. It's getting a little bit slick out there right now. The lap time's not breaking the 139 barrier as we saw, but now up down towards Kemmel Straight. Jake will have, of course, the benefit of the DRS, but Otmir has superior traction in that Mercedes. It's going to be another move in a couple of laps. Gets on the ERS, gets the DRS open, chases after Jake Benham. Jake's trying to defend here down towards the corner, but he stays behind for now. Becomes patient and is going to use the grip when he can. Sebastian Job is out of the race.
Yeah, obviously not going well for Sebastian Job, but Jarno knew that it was not the time to make the move, but he likes this corner at Bruxelles. Not this time, though, as they round the next right-hander. Certainly, though, it's going to get very, very close between Benham and Otmir, currently within 0.2 of a second. Sensational traction on those softs for Jarno Otmir that has certainly helped him coming out of the corners such as Le Source, which has perfectly teed him up for moves heading up the Kemmel Straight out of Eau Rouge as they now come through the Puon corner now. And can I just say, folks, an amazing 3,000 live viewers for this extraordinary Belgian Grand Prix. Thank you all so much for all your amazing support here at PSGL. We like to certainly break viewers' records. Can we break another one here tonight, folks? Come and join in the fun. It's been absolutely sensational. Just look at that graphic, though, Jack. Jarno Otmir, exactly the same tyre wear as Jake Benham, and that early pit stop has certainly provided Jarno with a little bit of a benefit here. Those soft tyres matching toe for toe on those mediums that Jake Benham and Blakely are wearing right now. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, and he's doing that while also saving ERS as well. So this is just superior driving from Jarno Otmir at the moment to cling on to the rear of these guys. Now onto the power they go again. It's getting slick out there now. You can see them being patient on the throttle through these corners now. And Otmir also being patient here. Doesn't want to make a silly overtake that could break his wing or something through all of this. Sitting behind, being super patient behind the car of Jake Benham. And Otmir now using a little bit of his ERS there. Not too much though. Up through Eau Rouge they go. It gets a little bit out of shape on the way up now. That's going to be a scary corner when it gets wet here now. Down the Kemmel Straight, Benham trying to get a slipstream on Blakely here. Blakely is helping Benham here. Blakely goes a bit defensive. Benham is still keeping him honest here, with Jarno now being super patient behind these guys. These guys are fighting for position as well, but he's on a different strategy. But it's going to be a case now. When does Jarno decide to go for the move? Does he go for it now? Yes, he does. Inside of Brussels, Benham leaves him the room. There's a little bit, there's surely not space there. There is. Otmir makes the space onto the traction. Superb from Jarno Otmir.
That is sensational, Jack. He's done it so many times before, but he's done it again on the All-Star Jake Benham. Both of them tying at the top end in Q3 in qualifying. But Otmir, the better man, heading through that right-hander, found all the room he needed to execute the manoeuvre on young Jake Benham. So Benham now drops down to P3. Otmir up in P2, now challenging the race leader, Lucas Blakely. The perfect strategy from Jarno Otmir, despite starting on the front row of the grid. He boxed for softs, did the right thing. Certainly he was able to get rid of those medium tyres. He knew he already ploughed some laps onto them, and now he's got the exact same tyre life as those on the mediums that have already been out a few laps, so he's actually gained a little bit of an advantage. But we'll have to see whether he can use them heading into the next part of the race. Can he catch up to Blakely, Jack?
Yeah, Blakely's going to be in trouble now. It is super treacherous out there now. They're being so careful on the throttle. You can even see the track now. You can kind of see the greasiness as they come across the start-finish line now to begin. Lap there in Weigang. Now there's a couple of crossovers because some guys are pitting for the Inters. Weigang's in. Matteo, Yamulo, Tormola, Moreno and Toma are all boxing now for the intermediate tyres. It looks like it's super slick out there now. It can't be nice. Blakely's getting loose loose up through Eau Rouge now, and this is going to be one hell of a race towards the end. Blakely is going to try hang on. He needs the track position. He needs to defend against Jarno Opmeer here, but those soft tires are going to work to it beautifully to his advantage through this sector. Blakely's getting a little bit wide through there. Opmeer's getting sideways well, but Blakely gets lovely traction on the exit of Lake Calm and keeps himself in front for now. He's got to hang on here, George.
Yeah, he does, and I think he might have made a slight error. May should have boxed a little earlier, but no, he stayed out. Jarno Opmeer now on his tail, and I have to say, can he carry these medium tyres through? Of course, he's got Jarno in behind, who's looking like certainly a very dangerous weapon in this race here right now as they round Poo on the Aston Martin. Green livery leading the charge here in behind as well. Opmeer with Benham in behind too. Only 3 penalties applied through this entire field, Jack. What an incredible race this has been, certainly with some of the best guys in esports and in sim racing, certainly here on the Formula 1 game, as we're now watching them make their way around Stavelo, heading through the next right-hander at turn 16, heading around Paul Frere, and still Blakely on top with Opmeer chasing his tail in behind as well. Jake Benham in P3, only a second back though. He has lost quite a bit of time off the Dutchman, so Opmeer and Blakely are going it alone here right now as they head their way down towards bus stop. It's going to be a battle of the Titans. Very much now Blakely will have an opportunity to get his own back on Opmeer after what happened in France as they come out to the bus stop now, down towards La Source. Opmeer in behind. Jack, is Blakely's time up now? Is his time up?
We'll have to wait and see, but the guys will have noticed the delta to the Inters. They're losing time rather than gaining it on the Inters at the moment. It's a very strange crossover at this moment in time, but we're still not quite sure when those Inters are going to come in, but Benham falls out of DRS now, up Eau Rouge. Look how treacherous that is up there, up and over the crossover now. DRS is still enabled at this moment in time. Here comes Jarno with the slipstream down towards Lake Calm. He looks to the inside, Blakely defends. He knows he's got to try and hang on here. This is a battle of the Titans right here, as you said. Blakely's got to hang on here versus Jarno Opmeer. He cannot let Jarno get the advantage on the softs now, dropping down the hill through Bruxelles right now. The intermediate tyres are losing time rather than gaining them, so even though it looks incredibly slick out there, it's bad choice to go on the Inters now.
Yeah, and certainly now as they head through towards Pouhon, it's going to be even more treacherous. Certainly the curbs are so dangerous right now, folks. They are gambling at every corner. Simon Weigang also going for a move himself as he makes his way through past Nicolas Mateo. Wowee! As they now make their way through the next series of bends. Blakely still on top here with Opmeer very, very close in behind. Did you witness a mistake, Jack?
Oh, I saw him completely crossed up through Pouhon, but he keeps the gap steady. And Opmeer now 0.7 of a second. Blakely, I cannot describe how well he is driving right now as they come round this next section. It is basically now a case of who pits first, who decides to come in to bolt on the set of the Inters right now, who pits first. But now I'm looking at the delta. Weigang's gaining time now, so now is the time, it seems, as sideways through Blanchimont. Lucas Blakely is giving it everything. There it is, there's the crossover, DRS disabled, and now Blakely's going to peel to his safety car. Beautiful timing for Lucas Blakely.
Yeah, Alessio Di Capua has DNF'd here in the race. Patrick Saipos moving up through the field. What does this mean for the likes of Simon Weigang? Has he timed that to perfection as they're now making their way through? There's Alessio's car in the background. Very important now for Weigang in order to get an advantage. Where's Blakely going to come out here? There's Jake Benham, who's coming into box on for a set of the intermediate tyres. Where's Blakely? Blakely coming through now as he now makes his way down through the pit straight in behind Opmeer as well. Benham back into his P3 spot. It'd be interesting to see where Weigang is.
Blakely's put hards on.
Oh no, Blakely's made a mistake.
Oh no, they haven't, because the rain might actually ease off. Blakely, Opmeer and Benham, dry tyres. How about this for a switch up? How look at this for a switch up. Beautiful job. This is so intriguing to look at right now. They're on dry tyres. I've never seen this before. Blakely, Opmeer, Benham are on dries, and everybody else except one or two as well have opted for dry tyres. It's such strange conditions. What is this race at the moment? Opmeer obviously feels that the grip is better on the dry tyres at the moment in time, and I suppose by the end of the race we're going to get about 3 laps behind the safety car, maybe 2 or 3 laps. There's only going to be a few laps left, so Well, this is so strange. I never predicted that.
Well, Jack, I'm going to put my umbrella away now. I'm going to take my sun cream out now, ready for me to get a nice Belgian tan, because currently now it looks like it's going to be dry tyres, according to the top-end drivers as well. Benham has opted to box onto the soft, so's Otmir. Blakely going right to the end on hard tyres. Interesting, he must have not had another compound available to him, or he had to make a quick split decision straight onto the hard tyres. Incredible scenes, but this puts the race perfectly in the hands of the Dutchman, Jarno Otmir, and of course Jake Benham as well. If it does dry up the way they suggest, we'll have to wait and see what happens, folks. Still, the safety car is out. DRS is still not enabled just yet. It won't do under the safety car, but let's see if the clouds dissipate and if we get some sunshine. I gotta say, I don't know what's gonna happen with those on the intermediate tyres, Jack, because that's a huge amount of cars in the field that are on that wet compound.
Yeah, but that would make the strategy call from Jolly Tormala a genius call. How everybody's going to have to pit in front of him. He's going to rocket up the standings. So a great call from Jolly Tormala, but that could be, well, if we think it's going to dry up very, very soon, and Lucas is in trouble. He's on the hard tyres, and both the guys behind him are on the soft compound tyre. He's going to have no defence at all in this race. So he's got to hope now that it doesn't. Well, he's in a weird place. He really obviously didn't have enough of the soft compound tyre left to get him to the end. Either that, or it was a simple mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting to wonder whether it was a little mistake, whether he had to make the change at the very last minute. Remember, he was the first to pit, and he was a little bit hesitant coming into the pit lane as well. And there you can see the hard tyres of Lucas Blakely there. You can just see the wheel spin on the rears coming through now. And already we're seeing Ruben Vallejo box on the inters. Remember, he's only just put those on. Also boxing is Moreno. Prejnader doing the same as well. And still remaining out on track, Clay, Longue, Leveche, Saipos and Donoso. They're choosing to stay out on the intermediate tyres, so they don't think it's going to dry up anytime soon. This is interesting, Jack. I do not know what we're going to expect here, but I have to say, it does look like it's brightening up slightly, Jack.
Yeah, they're expecting it to dry, and I would trust the calls of Jarno Otmir, Jake Benham, and the like for those dry tyres. They obviously feel it is definitely drying up. Currently still no DRS enabled just yet, but the guys on the inters now are in trouble because they're obviously now going to fall behind. But genius call from Jolly Tormala. He did that a lap before everybody else.
Yeah, well, it brought him up to P9, and now he's right on the tail of Shanaka Clay. Now, if it does dry up like they say it is, Jolly Tormala should make, 5 overtakes, should I say, and be right on the rear of Jake Benham. We'll have to wait and see how he gets on, and those tyres will be scrub tyres now. He would have had some race, certainly some race pace on them, or certainly got some race laps underneath them, so he would be able to at least get them certainly right up to temperature, right up to speed as well. So I've got to say, should it dry up, you should eat away at that field, I'd imagine. I mean, I'd be very surprised. I'm interested to see why the Alpine drivers haven't boxed. Still, Longue remains out, Donoso remains out. You would have thought at least one of them would have boxed on that previous lap, Jack. What's the reasoning behind that decision?
Obviously, I wish I knew, but obviously they have something in mind, but we're nearly certain the rain's going to ease off and it's going to dry up, so I think they're just hoping that they can cling on the inters for as long as they possibly can, or they're going to box at the end of this lap after seeing that the rest of the field has boxed pretty much. So yeah, these guys are not in a good place at the moment, and it is such a strange race to see rain coming down and people boxing onto dry tyres instead of inters. Safety car will become in this lap, so Blakely will now control the pace, but we believe it wasn't a mistake on his end, but a mistake on the game's end. He did intend to put softs on, but the game's put him on hards. So that's unfortunately the way it's gone for Blakely. He was going to go the same strategy as Jarno, but that's unfortunately sometimes how it goes. So Jarno is in the box seat now, but he's got young Jake Benham behind him. How's this going to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now Blakely will be considered the safety car when the safety car boxes. So Benham will be relied on the restart now as they make their way down towards bus stop. And of course on the hard tyres he's going to be really a sitting duck at this stage, but he can't afford to box because he'll lose any advantage he's got right now. He may as well stay out and try and fight them off right to the end, but it's going to be interesting heading up Eau Rouge as you now see now Lucas Blakely preparing to let them go at any second now. It certainly will be academic now as Blakely kicks on, and it's pedal to the metal for the third time in this Grand Prix, and already we're seeing them all tie up against each other now. You can see the Ferrari of Domenico Lavecce, tying up down the inside there of the Alpine of Nicolas Longue and making a move up as well. Stupendous stuff there for the Ferrari. Now wheeling up now as well. Jarno Watmere smells blood on the soft tyres, coming up through a Rouge. Here comes the Dutchman for the lead now. Here comes Jarno Watmere, opts to get the inside line, heading into Lane Cornwall outside now as he twists through, as they go wheel to wheel now, up towards the series of beds, still Blakely on top. Watmere taking the wider line as they come through on the soft tyres. Well, phenomenal traction there for the Dutchman, secures him that P1 Jackadan.
Round the outside of Lecom goes Jarno Watmere. Blakely could do nothing about that one, and through they go into the lead, Jarno Watmere, and he's going to now sail away and try to hang on in these conditions. Jake Benham trying to get himself a podium here for the first time. Nalonga gets a penalty for the first time. You can see the Inters are not keeping, they are not the fastest tyre to be on right now. They're about on par, if not slower, as the rain begins to ease here at Spa, and Watmere is away, clear of DRS. Surely now it's all in the hands of Jarno Watmere to go 2 in a row. We'll have to wait and see, but Benham trying to get himself second place here. Matteo's on an absolute flyer as well. He's got past Patrick Sipos. Next up is Donoso for him as well. The Ferrari of Nicholas Matteo. What a drive it's been from him so far in this field as they all stack up behind as well. The drive runners making their way past the intermediate runners, and Jake Benham trying to get up the inside of Blanchimont now. It's almost contact as they come up to the bus stop chicane. Outside line for Benham, gets around the outside, the gate twitch to the inside for the next part of the bus stop. That is sensational if you can keep it side by side down towards the first corner of the intermediate runners box now. Blakely's back up the inside, but Benham does the job with a wonderful overtaking to the bus stop chicane. He's into second.
Yeah, he certainly is. The hard tyres of Lucas Blakely are starting to really show their true colours now as Jake Benham moves his way up into P2. In behind, we got so much going on. Even Ruben Vallejo is trying to let fly now at Yoni Tormala as they now make their way up through a Rouge this time. Still on his tail though, Dario Yamulo right in the way as well. We're going to try and find a way through past his teammate. No friends here at McLaren obviously now as Dario Yamulo, who now looks to either side of his teammates. Vallejo wants to defend, but no way through for Yamulo. They're going to stay in tandem. Further down though, you could see there as well Simon Weigang having an absolutely blissful restart right to the tail of Tomek Paracic. We've still got a real battle lining our way up down towards the end of this race, Jack. Still P3 is still to be decided.
Absolutely, yeah. Blakely's already out of DRS of Benham, and really he's going to be in trouble from the soft runner of Nicholas Matteo behind. The only thing that's saving Blakely really for this podium is that Matteo's got a penalty to his name at this moment. Yoni Tormala runs in P5. He's on the medium tyres though. Ruben Vallejo once again a strong showing from McLaren this week with both of these guys. Moreno with a penalty. Now that's a rare penalty from Danny Moreno as well. Not a good race for Danny today, and he's under pressure really from some guys behind now after a poor qualifying. Weigang's on a good run as well, but Watmere is 1.8 seconds clear of Jake Benham in P2. Blakely runs in third, Matteo runs in P4, but Vallejo, look at him through the Blanchimont, pushing Yoni Tormala all the way through the corner. Vallejo super late on the brakes through the bus stop. Tormala leaves him in the room and now switches back the inside, gets shoved off. Tormala runs off the road there. He wasn't left any space, and Tormala has to secede the place now as DRS gets re-enabled. It's getting really hot here as Yamulo goes for the move as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yamulo trying to take the long way round around La Source. They're still going wheel to wheel now. Heading up towards a Rouge. Still Yoni Tormala hanging on by a thread, but is it enough? He's right on the rear of Vallejo. They're tying up now through this section, and now Vallejo at the mercy of Yoni Tormala in the inside now for the AlphaTauri. Yamulo making it a 3 wide as they make their way up towards Lane Com. It's a tie-up. It's a 4 wide affair as they come up through the next right-hander. Yoni Tormala. Brilliant from Tormala. Sensational from Tormala. But the McLaren is round as well. Yamulo is spun. Yamulo is spun.
Oh, and he's got wing damage as well, does Dario Yamulo. What a shame as the battle continues to rage on as Weigang fighting with Danny Moreno, and Danny gets his way through past Simon Weigang there. Big slide from Danny on the way through No Name as well, but that was really hot racing as look at that from Yoni Tormala down the inside of Pouon and gets his way past Nicholas Matteo. What a overtake from the Finn. What happened to Nicholas Matteo? He's slowing down. Paracic goes round. I think Matteo's having a problem here, George, but Yoni Tormala Tormola. Brave from him down the inside of Puon nonetheless. Nicholas Mateo slowing down. He's got an issue.
He certainly is, he's certainly got a problem. It's all falling apart here right now. But I've got to say, Yoni Tormola on medium tyres is absolutely flying right now. As he's still 5 seconds away from Lucas Blakely, but holding on to that P4 spot. And all this battling is giving Blakely a bit of a helping hand. In comes Ruben Vallejo having a look down the inside of Yoni Tormola once again as they come through the bus stop chicane now. Soon to be working their way down towards La Source. Just look at the string of cars we have got here. It's going to be an almighty titanic battle, a titanic affair between some of these amazing drivers we got right up to P9. Philip Presnader, what a recovery drive, Jack. Right on the tail as well. Patrick Saipos has been quick too. Just now the fastest lap as they come through Rouge yet again. More battling surely around the corner. There you can see Vallejo locked in behind Yoni Tormola. Looks to go out wide here of the AlphaTauri. The McLaren with the DRS. Boom! He gets his way up into P4. Perantic following him through a double overtake there. And Yoni Tormola suffering twice at the hands of Ruben Vallejo and Tommy Perantic.
Yeah, it's just a shame Yoni Tormola didn't have the DRS there. Nothing he could really do about that. Danny Moreno is now right behind him. And the two Alphas having their best run of the season so far. Weigang P8, Philip Presnader P9. Superb recovery from Philip Presnader so far. But it may be the case that Jarno's saving ERS, but it's getting exciting because Jake Benham is bearing down on him and he's desperate to get within DRS. It's 1.1 seconds. Benham wants to make this a grandstand finish, but you gotta wonder, is Jarno just maybe playing with him a little bit? Benham's gaining. He's on the verge of DRS. Could this be a fairy tale ending?
It certainly could be. He's nearly within the Delta range, and certainly you could imagine that maybe Jarno is saving some ERS right now and just giving him a chance to, just allow Benham back in while he charges the battery. You could sort of understand his method of thinking because this could take him to the end, but it's going to be 2 laps of magic here, folks. Can Benham cause an upset here in the finale of this Grand Prix here in Belgium? We have only got 2 laps left now. Jarno's just commenced it as they now make their way around the source now, but still Benham's got some work to do. He will not be overtaking Jarno on this lap heading through the Kemmel Straight as they now make their way up towards Eau Rouge. Still Jarno on top. Danny Moreno with an almighty charge moves himself up into P6, and we're going to have an almighty titanic affair between this line and the midfield as well, Jack. Amazing racing across this circuit.
Yeah, brilliant job from Danny Moreno. He's recovering very well despite everything. The penalty to his name, of course, it could get removed in the steward's room. Afterwards, Paragic going a little bit defensive down the Kemmel Straight just to make sure that he's covering him off into Les Combes. Vallejo running in P4. Remember, he has got a penalty to his name, so it's Paragic who runs in that position for now. And Moreno behind him with penalty as well. So Yoni Tormola just needs to keep with these guys and he'll get a great result out of this race to keep his point streak going. Down the hill they come again through Nolan, and Vallejo running in the exact same place he ran last week, P4. He's made it all the way back up to, but of course that penalty to his name will affect him. Only a lap and a half remains at Spa, and Altmaier is just very nicely maintaining this gap of 1.2, just over a second, just enough to keep Jake Benham out of DRS, but it must be agonising for Jake. He's trying to get in there, but Altmaier is just doing just enough to keep him behind.
Yeah, he's just managing the race, Jack. He's just simply managing it, utilising and charging the ERS at the proper moments. Jake Benham being left frustrated, cannot break that 1.2 second gap, or that 1.1 second gap that has left him frustrated throughout this Grand Prix, or at least towards the tail end of it anyway. Lap 21 of 22, and Jarno very shortly crossing the line to commence the final lap in this Belgian Grand Prix, folks. I gotta say, Jack, I'm a happy bunny. Jarno was my tip for the day.
Yeah, Blakely was mine, but it could have been a different story had he not been handed those hard tyres in the pit stop. As Danny goes down the inside. Now this is getting really hot. There's nearly 3 abreast on the way out. The last source. Look at that. Contact between Vallejo and Paragic. Side by side down towards Eau Rouge they go. And Vallejo is going to be side by side with Paragic. Side by side through Eau Rouge. Paragic gets his way through. Moreno goes past as well. Down the straight. Banging tyres they go. Down the Kemmel Straight. It's 3 wide. Moreno's in the middle. But here comes Yoni Tormola on the inside. Superb from all of these guys. Inside for Tormola. And it's Weigang with the inside for the
next corner, he goes through the P6, and what is happening? Moreno goes through the 4th, and look at that. How have they come out of that in one piece? That is phenomenal driving from everybody. Preschnader goes through, tries to get past Paragic down the inside of No Name. Superb. How is this still going on? Tormola goes through. They come out alive. Somehow Moreno gets up to P4.
This is absolutely sensational on the final lap of the race. Absolutely incredible scenes as they all fought it out to run the Jockey X-Bends, but Philip Preschnader not able to make the most of it. But how about that from Danny Moreno? Tackling. Oh, Jake Benham's got a penalty. Jake Benham's got a penalty. 3 seconds applied, and without question, it's going to add to the deficit that is applied against this man who is leading the World Championship currently after taking Mercedes to the top on several occasions. He's already won once at Bahrain. He's going to win at Belgium. It's a double B affair. The Flying Dutchman's done it. Jarno Opmeer is the race winner here for the Belgian Grand Prix here at PSGL. Jake Benham comes home in a mighty second place with Lucas Blakely in P3. Incredible race, Jack. I could not believe my eyes. The Flying Dutchman has done it in amazing fashion.
Oh, Yanni Tormola got a penalty in the last corner. What a drive from Simon Weigang to get up to 4th place. Brilliant job from Simon and from Philip. They finished 4th and 6th. They're both of their best results so far this season. And, oh, I've never seen that before. Nicholas Matteo with a 20-second penalty across the line there. What on earth has happened there? Anyways, Patrick Sipos got the fastest lap at the dead there. He takes the World Championship point for that. Driver of the day, Simon Weigang. And, I mean, you can't really argue with that. Superb from Simon Weigang, starting, I think, 17th or 18th and drove through to that P4. But Jarno Opmeer, 2nd win of the season. Nobody could beat him. A superb strategy call to go on the soft tyres. And at the start, of course, at the first safety car, then switching back onto dries in the middle of these intermediate conditions. Once again, a great strategy call from all those top 3 as well. Jake Benham, a debut point, you can't write him off. That was a superb drive from Jake Benham. And Lucas Blakely, he did so well to hang on to P3 on the hard tyres. Simon Weigang, 19th up to 4th. What a drive from Simon. And Philip as well, 17th to 6th. They kept it clean, no penalties. And Patrick Sipos takes the fastest lap and the extra World Championship point as well. But oh my word, what a finish that was. But that doesn't look too exciting, to be honest, that they started, Jarno started from pole and took the win. Jake started P2, finished P2. That doesn't tell the story of the race.
No, it doesn't. Look at Weigang, though. P19 up to a mighty P4. Amazing stuff indeed. But you can't say, I mean, the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer, he just blows us away, folks. I gotta say, every time, we are absolutely blown away. It's sensational. Sensational, folks. 4,000 of you. 4,000 of you have been watching tonight. This incredible race. Jarno Opmeer in... Oh my God. I cannot believe what we've just seen. Jake Benham, the youngster, the all-star, managed to make his way up into P2. It's just brilliant. What a race at Belgium. Spa-Francorchamps, you did not disappoint, I have to say. It's amazing to see some of the best in the business, and we got to see racing right up through to the last lap of the race. You got to give all these drivers the absolute... You've got to give them props for all their excellent efforts in this race, Jack, because Philip Preschnader even went in deep towards the end around Bruxelles. But how about Simon Weigang, P4, after a sensational drive from P19?
Yeah, and he had to do that with about 3 pit stops as well. He made the wrong call to switch onto inters, switch back to dry tyres, and comes out with a 4th place after that frenetic last lap. And have we ever seen 4 wide down the Kemmel Straight?
No.
That was superb. Yanni Tormola braving it out on the grass down towards the Kemmel Straight, and not an ounce of contact. Nobody spun, nothing like that. It was just brilliant to watch. And I'm glad everyone else joined it at home, because we also crossed the 7,000 subscriber mark as well.
Yes! No, amazing, Jack. You guys are brilliant, by the way, folks. I want to thank you all for your so amazing support. Thank you all so much, guys. You all deserve the credit. It's absolutely brilliant. We're gonna have some interviews, though, because we have got none other than your race winner. It's the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer. Jarno, what a drive now. I have to say, you managed the strategy perfectly, despite the rain. I mean, you seem to be in complete control out there. Talk us through it.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was a very exciting race, I think, to watch. No one knew what was going to happen with the weather. We knew it was going to rain, but that was about it. Of course, Jeff is not very detailed in when it's going to rain. So everyone was jessing around a bit, and then the last safety car basically completely reset the race for everyone. So then all the gaps were closed again. Last moment driving into the pits, I switched from inters to softs. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, what happened in that pit stop phase when everything changed? Because everyone, of course, boxed onto the intermediate tyres. All of a sudden, everyone came in. We saw yourself, Lucas, and Jake as well, I believe, go out. Well, yourself and Jake went out on fresh softs. Lucas, I think, had a bit of an unfortunate interaction with the game and ended up having hard tyres on. And then you had the rest of them out on intermediate tyres. Was there a last-minute change, or was there something that you knew before going into the race that change had to be made at that point to get back onto the slicks?
Well, as I said, I drove into the pits, and then last moment, I wasn't interested. And then last moment with the softs, as I realized, Jeff said it's gonna stop raining within 5 to 10 minutes.
Wow!
But of course, if it's 10 minutes, then you might get screwed by the inter runners. But luckily, as soon as safety car came in, the softs were already faster than the inter. So from there on, of course, I still had Jake to fight. I used my new set of softs in that first. After that first pit stop, and then I had to go and use softs from qualifying on that final run, and that made it a little bit harder because Jake was on new softs, hunting me down. But luckily, I kept out of DRS for long enough, and I had pace good enough to stay ahead. Luckily, my tires warmed up good straight after the safety car. I really had to get past Lucas straight away because I needed a gap to Jake. And then I had a bit of margin to Jake, who was in the new soft. So GG to him. He was absolutely phenomenal today. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. Amazing as well to hear that Jeff actually called one right on this occasion. Absolutely sensational. But yeah, no, just talking about some of the battles there as well is incredible. Obviously, the race just did not seem to stop in terms of physicality out on the track. A lot of the drivers going for it no matter what. The last lap was absolutely tremendous. I mean, what does it mean to see so many young talents now working their way through? Because we saw Jake Benham at the end. He is getting better and better all the time. And I really do think that he could be, as well, the next man to sort of jump and reach for that brass ring, that legendary brass ring. Could you see him reaching the precipice of F1 esports? He certainly seems to have the talent.
I definitely think he can get into F1 esports. I think he's already better than some F1 esports drivers. But of course, he still has to wait 2 years, I think so. And you need to stay on a high level, which is, of course, difficult in esports, as it's all so close. So you need to keep practicing. That's going to be interesting. Of course, you need to keep interest in F1 as well along those years, because he still has 2 years to practice, of course. But yeah, I think definitely if he keeps this level and maybe even get better, then definitely he can be a F1 esports driver and maybe even world champion at some point. Definitely believe that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're wowed by him as well as yourself as well. But just talking about the strategy as well. I mean, how soon did you predict? Did you know? Were you absolutely sure when the rain was going to make an appearance? Was it set in stone, or was it a case that you had to sort of wait for it in the race? Was there a certain moment where you understood, or again, was Jeff in your ear again telling you when that initial burst was coming out? Because it seemed like you had to really be cool and calculated in making your choice for a pit stop. And I did see, obviously, you boxed early at the safety car for the softs as well. That was an interesting strategy because I thought you might stay out on the mediums.
Yeah, but it was a tricky one. I know. In the end, we came out equal because I was P1 before I went into the pits, and then I was P2 going into the pits. So I think it wouldn't have made a difference in result in the end. But yeah, both me and Lucas had to make a split-second decision. I think we had around 5 seconds to choose our tires when the last safety car came out. And it was not easy, of course. As I said, as I drove into the pits, I was still in intermediates, and then last moment I selected the softs.
Well, I got to say, Jeff earns a medal for that one, but obviously great stuff. And that, again, continues your podium streak. And not only that, you're still on top of the championship. And obviously looking ahead, obviously we've got many races ahead. How's your confidence levels? Are you still feeling good about the rest of the season? I've got to say, if you carry on the way you're going, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good season for you.
Yeah, of course, I'm feeling more and more comfortable. Of course, I've won F1 esports already, so pressure is a little bit lower. I'm more comfortable. I'm enjoying the game a lot at the moment. So yeah, all looking good.
Well, I got
of course,
to say,
F1 esports is coming. And
Do you smell it in the championship?
yeah, of course. But PSGL and Avon Esports, I'm confident we can fight for the championship. So we'll see.
We'll look forward to seeing it. Jarno, congratulations on another win, my friend, and another well-executed race. Brilliant. Excellent stuff, and I'm sure we'll see you next time.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Jarno. Next up, we have the Scotsman. It's Lucas Blakely. And Lucas, I've got to say, it's just struggling. I mean, the game upset you today, didn't it? It was all going so well after that grandiose start, getting yourself up to P1, fighting with Jake Benham. But the hard tyres were fitted. That was a mega blow, wasn't it?
I don't know what I need to do, man. Sometimes I just
flip a coin and get it to land on the right side. I think would be a good start.
To be honest, I'd rather lose the race by doing a mistake myself. But to lose like that is a massive kick in the teeth. But first of all, GG to Jarno in the win. I mean, he drove a good race. You can't discredit him in any way, shape or form. So GG to him. He's just a monster in general anyway. So fair play, and GG to Jake as well. He drove a very mature race. It would have been very easy to lose the car in a lot of places, and GG to him on the P2. And I'm just really gutted because I think, as Jarno said just before, just there, it was we did have long to choose the tyres, and I mean I was clicking as quick as I could to get to the soft, but then it locked me out of the choice on the hard tyres. So I mean, of all tyres, I mean I don't know. It's just the hard. It would have been a little bit nicer if it was mediums, but to be given the hards, it was a bit of a survival mission at that point, because I knew that I would need a lot of luck to win the race with the hards, with the two guys behind on soft. To be honest, I think I'm just grateful as well to even get a podium in the first place, because I thought honestly I was gonna not even score a point, because I thought more people were on the dry tyres. So it's a shame. Actually, I'm seeing in my chat as well that if I went on mediums, I would have been disqualified. So I know, I guess I should count my blessings in some way. So I don't know. It's just we did a lot. We did. I think I don't know what it is, but we found ourselves in the lead of the race on all three of the races so far, and they've all not materialized in one way or another. The first race is fair game because that was a mere strategy, but yeah, the last race was that was whatever it was. But the point is, it's we've been up there, which is the positive, but it's obviously it sucks to when you lead so much of that race, and you feel like you're confident, you're driving well, you feel like you've got it under control, and that you can you've got more than enough pace to fight those guys, and to not get the opportunity towards the end to then take that fight it's a massive shame, because I would have really, really enjoyed to have went head to head with Jarno towards the end. That would have been a good nostalgia, because we've raced along, we've actually raced each other for quite a while as well, so it would have been really cool to have another battle. But it's it is what it is. I can't really I can't really change it now, so all I can do is speculate. But that's life. You can't win them all. So yeah, it's I don't know. On to the next one, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at it, I mean, today it looked like you were going to take charge of the race. It looked like you were in a great spot. You were pushing clear of Benham when you made that crucial overtake before the pit stop phase. It just all seemed to go slightly wrong when the hard tyres were bolted on. But like you say, better than a disqualification in many ways, obviously. But it definitely looked like you were on for redemption after what happened at France last week. You were looking in good shape. And I did say before the start of the race that this was a track that you did enjoy. Of course, taking victory here in the past obviously would be a huge indicator of that. I mean, obviously, looking ahead, it only just seems to be just a little bit of luck needs to go your way, and you can touch that top podium place in an actual points affair.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much I'm missing. I mean, I just need a little bit more. I mean, one thing I don't like is I don't want to be that guy that cries, "Oh, I'm so unlucky. Oh, this and that." You're gonna have lucky moments. You're gonna have unlucky moments. You've just got to be mature about it. So. Even when I'm driving, I don't know. It's not I don't want to be like hypocritical, because when you've got all the adrenaline, I'm like, come on, give me a luck or something. But after it's all done, that's just the way racing goes. I mean, it could have happened to Jarno for all I know. but yeah, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, as you say, I was going into this race relatively confident, but I didn't do a good job in qualifying. In complete honesty, I did a slower lap in a Q3, which has more grip than I did even in the pre-season race. So I was really disappointed with myself in qualifying. But once that's done, the head's just down in the race, and I think I drove a very near perfect race. For what, even with the tires I had, etc. So, I can only be positive. I mean, the confidence was really, really high, especially when the track was getting wetter and wetter. Like, I felt like I was starting to increase the pace to Jake behind as well, because I wanted to work together with Jake in the early phase of the race when it was dry, because I knew Jarno had pitted, so I was like, right, okay, well, let's just clear off, see what we can do. And as the race went on, after I overtook Jake for the last time, I think I had a bit more pace than Jake, and he was struggling a bit. You could see it on all the exits and stuff. He was really all over the place at certain places. So I knew I was confident, and I knew I could control it. And even we had Jarno as well come at me in the softs, but I knew his softs would be fading eventually. So I was confident in in that static race of fighting for the win. And then the safety car was perfect timing, because I was going to pit anyway, but yeah, I was just missing 2 clicks on the left D-pad, and then that's me on softs, and then I could fight for the win. So that's the fine margins, that's the way it is. I can only be happy. Again, I've got to look at the bigger picture of the positives, because it's not been a bad start to the game in any respect. And I think I said before I jumped in this interview, what's for me won't go by me. So I mean, if I'm gonna win, it'll happen. So I'm not really too worried in that respect. I feel like I'm confident enough, within myself in that respect, that if I keep driving the way I am, then it should hopefully that sort of thing would come together. But it takes a lot more than just doing the driving than to get everything right. It's like strategy, it's composure, it's confidence, it's a whole package. So. Oh well, I hope you guys enjoyed the race as well. And, I think it was an absolute crack. I mean, I literally opened my Twitter. I had a guy memeing my hard strategy, which I can understand and all that. But I also had I seen Tomic put a tweet out or something saying, "Well, I wonder how I ended up in this situation. There's like 6 cars and like 2/10. It's like, what? How?" So yeah, I mean, I hope it was good for you guys. I mean, I hope you enjoyed the race, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed laughing at the hard strategy, I guess, because I mean, you probably all thought I'd lost the plot, but put it this way, I wouldn't go on the hards again if I had the choice. I didn't want them.
You can definitely hear my audible confusion.
Yeah, not what I wanted. Put it that way. The softs would have done fine. The softs would have been alright. But I can only be happy. I mean, yeah, I can keep waffling, but I don't want to take up the rest of your night. So.
Well, no, I got to say, Lucas, it was a great drive nonetheless, mate, and excellent to be fighting at the top end. Certainly looking like you were in charge for a portion of the race as well up to that point. So, no, credit to you. And obviously, we're going to go to the next race and hopefully see you once again fight and hopefully break the hoodoo and finally get that P1. But you can be proud of everything you've achieved, mate. Well done, great drive, and I'm sure we'll see you at the top again, Lucas.
Thank you very much for your time, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the race. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas. Thank you so much. Well, I got to say, I'm glad to be joined by the big man, Big Connor, Big C as well. Connor, you're back with us. Another great stream tonight. 4,000 live viewers here tonight. Witness PSGL and that win for Jarno Opmeer. It's the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it?
He's not here.
He's missing in action.
He's missing. Okay, Connor doesn't want to talk to us.
He's in the commentary box, but doesn't want to talk. But there we go. But folks, I got to say, amazing stuff indeed. We witnessed an absolute corker of an event, and we do appreciate all your support and everything like that. Jack, just a few closing words on those interviews we had. Obviously, a recognisably despondent Lucas Blakely, but Jarno Opmeer, he managed the race perfectly tonight.
Yeah, he did. Brilliant call by Mercedes there to bring him in. Well, obviously they were going to pit anyway, but a great kind of, I suppose, reactions to switch to those softs so quickly. So a brilliant job by them. There's going to be obviously plenty of images plastered on social media of the of that moment on the last lap down the Kemmel Straight. I think we were trying to copy lap 1 2018 Spa right there. We just made it better by making it 4. Well, it's basically the same image. Honestly, I'm having a look at it now. It's exactly the same image.
There he
it's
is.
brilliantly done. Yeah, no, it looks great. I just think we did it a bit better because we have 6 cars in the one shot rather than just the 4.
We do. It does look better, doesn't it? I have to say. But yeah, we have got Connor in the live chat with us, folks. He has finally decided to join us now in the commentary box. But Connor, it's happened again, mate. A sensational broadcast. 4,000 viewers watching that incredible race from start to finish at Belgium. We had strategies aplenty, incidents, overtakes. It was pretty much everything you could wish for in a league race. It's music to your ears, isn't it? Or music to your eyes as well.
Yeah, it is, George. I mean, races like today, you just want them to continue for weeks and weeks and continue forever. But you know what the future holds, I guess. But just got to enjoy the moment. And like you say, the strategy was great. I was in a party like with Wilson and a few other guys when we was calling, was it drives, was it inters? But if you look to the weather on the task system, it did say it was going to dry up. So I said go for softs, and yeah, it proved to be right. But like I say, everything you want from a league race action. Lots of good clean racing after the disappointing races yesterday with some of the day driving. So yeah, a big thanks to everyone, and yeah, hopefully we can continue this. But naturally, there has been a few things behind the scenes. But things may change for PSGL at least on a Thursday night. But we'll bring that to you when we decide, I guess. But thanks to everyone again, and yeah, it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the viewers at home, of course, obviously, there'll be some news posted, and this will lead me on to the socials as well. Obviously, we'll talk about those now as well. But, Connor, I mean, like I say, we'll obviously bring out news as to what's going to happen with the future of PSGL very, very soon. But up to now, obviously, the racing is still continuing as normal.
Yeah, as it stands, it'll be business as usual. But like I say, just keep an eye on Twitter and all this sort of jazz, because there's a lot of stuff going in the background. But let's wait and see, because I don't really know either. So.
No, well, there you go, folks. You heard it here first. So let's talk about these socials then. So if you want to check out PSGL, you can check them out at Premier Sim GL. That is, of course, PSGL's Twitter handle. Check them out. Leave a follow. Make sure you stay up to date with all the racing action. I, of course, am on Twitter as well. I am George Morgan, of course, your commentator at George Morgan TV. That is how you can find me. And Jack Canan alongside me. Jack, tell him your Twitter handle, please.
Yeah, it's at JackCCom, so give me a follow over there for all the best tweets in the world, clearly.
Yeah, and what about Big C as well? Connor is in the comms box. Tell him your Twitter handle, Connor.
Yeah, at Big C_019, so yeah, thank you.
There you go. So thank you all, folks. It was an incredible race. Jarno Watmere, the Flying Dutchman, once again proving his talents out on track. But how about young Jake Benham? He's got it all to come. He looks like an unwavering talent, as well as Lucas Blakely. One mistake is all it takes to lose it all, folks. We'll see you next time for some more racing. Stay tuned. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
It's time once again to go racing.
The pressure is really on now. And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go!